able to confirm what we thought we already knew, that we had our man.
DeAngelo is accused of committing 50 rapes, 12 murders, among other crimes across several California counties in the 70s and 80s. He reportedly was fired from the Auburn Police Department in 1979 after he was charged with shoplifting, Lisa.
Thanks, Jessica. The White House defending the nominee for Veterans Affairs Chief and the vetting process amid continued questions about anonymous allegations against Ronny Jackson. Fox's John Decker is live at the White House.
With senators from both parties saying they're concerned about allegations leveled at Dr. Jackson, White House spokeswoman Sarah Sanders said that Jackson has received more vetting than most nominees.
I'm telling you that none of those things have come up in the 4 separate background investigations that have taken place. There's been no area of concern that was raised.
Allegations have been made about the president's personal physician concerning drinking on the job, dispensing medications improperly, and creating a hostile work environment. Jackson has denied all of those claims. Lisa?
John, an E. coli outbreak linked to romaine lettuce still growing. Now 84 people sick in 19 states. The CDC says the tainted lettuce appears to be coming from the Yuma, Arizona growing region. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Every time I travel, there's something from home that I can't leave without. I take my Docomo Pacific Data to Go to share my stories in Taiwan, check subway routes in Tokyo, be my food guide in Hong Kong, meet new friends in the Philippines, make updates in the States, find my way around Korea, and check out all the cool shows in Singapore. It's the data I have in all the places I love for only $10 a day. Data to Go from Docomo Pacific. Better together.
For over 55 years, Community First has served our island as a full-service financial institution. And now, we're proud to introduce the new Community First Student-Run Credit Union, open in Manilao on Route 10, Guam's first student-run financial institution, which means it's operated by college students like us, ready to serve all our members, existing and new. We're just down the road from UOG and GCC. Community First Guam Federal Credit Union, now open in Manilao. This credit union is federally insured by NCUA.
The nation's highest court saves one of the most controversial cases of its term for last, the battle over the third version of the president's travel ban.
The administration argues this version is narrowly tailored and aimed at national security interests. Opponents say it's driven by religious discrimination against Muslims. Justice Alito asked why, if that's the case, it only impacts 8% of the world's Muslim population. Justice Sotomayor talked about Congress passing immigration laws, asking what gives the president the authority to go beyond what lawmakers already believe is adequate when it comes to vetting.
Fox's Shannon Bream at the Supreme Court. An emotional day for some Republican lawmakers returning to a baseball diamond in Virginia for the first time since a gunman opened fire at a practice last year.
Congressman Barry Loudermilk says he had flashbacks for weeks after James Hodgkinson opened fire, injuring lawmakers and staffers and critically wounding House Majority Whip Steve Scalise.
It was important to come out here and show the world that we're not going to be deterred.
Scalise is still recovering from injuries and was not there today. The practices are held this time each year in advance of the annual Congressional Charity Baseball Game.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland in D.C. Former President H.W. Bush is moved out of intensive care.
Former President Bush, 41, was admitted to Houston Methodist Sunday after contracting an infection that spread to his blood. In a statement released by his office, President Bush is alert and talking with hospital staff, family, and friends, and that his doctors are pleased with his progress. It also says the 93-year-old President Bush's focus now is on the Houston Rockets in the playoffs. He also sent out a tweet earlier thanking the city of Houston for making visitors to Barbara Bush's funeral feel so welcome.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. The Dow up 59 points at the closing bell, back over 24K. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News Radio.
Don't dump that cooking water down the sink. You can reuse it for other purposes, such as watering your plants or garden. After boiling pasta or steaming veggies, let the water cool and then recycle away.
Catch more Clean and Green Living tips every day and get inspired to make a cleaner, greener effort in your community. Happy Earth Month from the stations of Choice Broadcasting.
Brought to you in part by Pit Shop. Having fun is their business. Call 488-9367 for information on how to rent the rock wall climbing, Power Wheels, zip line, and more.
Stop by any Circle K today and overload your For Real. It's simple. Pick out your favorite For Real shake, blend it, and then mix and match any 2 toppings for only $1. Overload your For Real with a variety of sweet treats like Oreo cookies, gummy bears, classic M&Ms or peanut M&Ms, and Reese's peanut butter cups. Simply add them to your For Real shake for an overload experience and enjoy. For Real Overload, only available at participating Circle K's. Circle K, take it easy.
GTA's best internet deal has arrived. With fiber internet, you get up to 50 megabits of data per second for only $50 per month. And if that's not enough, Fiber Internet 50 plan includes free Wi-Fi. But this offer will only last through the month of April. So sign up today and get ready for faster downloads, more streaming, a better gaming experience, and a stable connection across multiple devices. Conditions may apply. Visit GTA.net for more details. GTA, your island, your network.
This time, let's hear it from the first KFC female colonel.
Smoky Mountain Barbecue, fried chicken so crispy and sweet. That crispy fried chicken. All right, stop, I can't do this. I thought if I dressed up like a country music legend, it would help KFC sell my delicious new Smoky Mountain Barbecue.
KFC, it's finger-licking good.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 6 a.m. this Thursday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The Department of Public Works has halted a 40-foot wide land clearing for an access road near the top of Barrigada Heights. Acting DPW Director Andy Leon Guerrero confirming the work was stopped after Guam EPA advised that an approval was necessary before the work can continue. Leon Guerrero said the Department of Land Management asked for the easement to be cleared on the access road, which leads to a number of Chamorro Land Trust properties. Under the Land Trust program, 99-year leases are granted to qualified applicants for $1 a year. Among the recipients of the lots in question is Barrigada Mayor June Blas, who was given a Chamorro Land Trust right of entry lease agreement in the area last year. It's unclear whether that was granted to Blas in her personal or official capacity. Blas was off-island and unavailable for comment yesterday. Chief District Court Judge Francis Tadinko Gatewood has dismissed the $7 million lawsuit against the Board of Education and 5 former and 1 current member of the board. Fernandez filed the lawsuit in October 2016, arguing the board had terminated his contract without due process following unfounded allegations of sexual improprieties. Last month, Judge Gatewood also granted a request to expunge from the record a 2016 report on those allegations, which were made by a former student and cited by the former board in its decision to terminate Fernandez's contract. The controversy led to the resignation of most of those board members, and early last year, the board under new leadership reinstated Fernandez and voided the report. Fernandez has been awarded $60,000 in legal fees from Guam DOE. We'll have more news after this.
Hey, it's your stomach talking. I'm just gonna cut to the chase. Subway has all new signature wraps packed with meat and flavor. And I know flavor. Okay, maybe not as much as the mouth, that's kind of his job, but we talked, and he's a big fan of the Chipotle Southwest Steak and Cheese signature wrap. And it's super filling, so you don't have to hear from me for a few hours. Unless they play this radio spot again. Subway, make it what you want.
Gatnia Bay. When you visit the Point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam, gaze into the beautiful sunset as you unwind to the music of Philip Garcia and Natasha on Wednesdays, Mama Shar and Nina on Thursdays, Philip Garcia and Louise Munia on Fridays, and Jack Larimer on Saturdays. Open daily from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Happy hour from 5 to 8 p.m. with all cocktail drinks for $7. Receive a discount when you present your SPG card. Call Peter Yaban at 646-2222 for reservations at the Point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam Resort.
News time here at The Point is 11 minutes past 6 a.m. The Guam Medical Association last night postponed a meeting on funding options for Guam Memorial Hospital out of respect for the ongoing survey of GMH being conducted this week by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. The meeting was called for Wednesday evening last night at the Guam Congress Building, but a message sent to the membership yesterday states that GMA leadership, in consultation with community advisors, decided to reschedule the meeting. The message explained that the ongoing public discussion of GMH's needs to be done respectfully and rationally, and the GMA leadership has decided to postpone the general membership meeting until a later date. No new date is mentioned in the message to the GMA members. More than 35 employers set up shop in the University of Guam Fieldhouse yesterday for a job fair, including Cloverdale Foods from Mandan, North Dakota, where prospective job applicants had to wait in line to talk to Scott Staudinger. Staudinger is Vice President of Human Resources for the 103-year-old company. He's already recruited 28 Guam residents, and he came back for 30 or 40 more. Cloverdale manufactures and distributes processed meats for food service and retail customers. Jobs at Cloverdale start at $12 an hour, and the cost of living in North Dakota is much lower than Guam, although it's a bit chillier. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Right now with some weather.
Well, let's see if we can get the temps down to what they are. And where's that, North Dakota, you said?
Mandan.
Mandan, North Dakota. Let's see what we got to know on the weather map here for a second. Partly sunny skies with isolated showers. Thunderstorms are in the forecast for this morning, then scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms in the evening and overnight. East winds 10 to 20 miles an hour today. Daytime highs should be about 87 and overnight lows of about 77 degrees. Sunset tonight at 6:35. Sun's been up for about 9 minutes. That's news and weather together. Brought to you by Bank Pacific, where others put branches, they place roots.
Hafa-day. My name is James Moylan, and I'm running for a seat as your senator. The people of Guam expect more from their leaders, and I intend on delivering. If given the opportunity, I will bring my experiences in the military, public, and private sectors. I understand that during challenging times, tough decisions and an open mind are needed. Your tax dollars also need to be spent wisely. If you expect more from your elected officials and expect them to think outside of the box, then I humbly ask for your support this November. Thank you.
Paid for by the committee to elect James Camacho Moylan for Senator, Carlos Camacho, Treasurer.
Gotcha. Portions of the program brought to you by my friends over at King's Restaurant for 40 years, serving your favorites to families like yours. Always open, always local. It's King's.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
You know, they're always working on something new over at Wendy's. Try this, the new Southwest Avocado Spicy Chicken Sandwich. I love spicy chicken sandwiches, just period. I think they're all great, whoever makes them. But Wendy's, they do them great. Crispy, spicy chicken, kicked up with pepper jack cheese. There's a Southwest ranch that'll cool things down. And then Applewood smoked bacon, because it's Wendy's. They like putting bacon on stuff. Finish that up with a cool, creamy slab of avocado. Also available, the new Southwest Avocado Chicken Salad. For a limited time, stop by the nearest Wendy's and try one today. Wendy's. Now that's better.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Buenas and Hafa-day. Guau si Clara Menglotnya of Malolo. And this is where I start my day. Listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi itanotmu, protect your land. When it comes to your family land, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
It's Thursday already, everybody. That means that yesterday was Wednesday and tomorrow is going to be Friday, and it's going to be the big weekend. And there's literally about a bajillion things that are going on in the next couple of days, and we'll try to keep you up to speed and on top of those so that you can adequately plan your schedule for everything that is going on, and maybe even a view to moving to where Cloverdale cooks up their sausages and their Applewood smoked bacon and all of that stuff. I'm so glad we had the opportunity to talk about that job fair that took place yesterday. So a bunch of people went, huh?
Apparently they did, and some of them are going to Cloverdale.
I feel that's our success, because we've been on that story since the very beginning. And why? Because they make bacon. So a lot of people standing in line to go and talk to the Cloverdale guy. And did you go?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so somebody else. Did they come back? Did they come back and say the guy from Cloverdale smelled just like bacon?
I think he cleaned up before he arrived.
That's why everybody wanted to go there. You smell bacon?
Yeah.
I think it's that guy over there.
Yeah, I like bacon. Currently 66 degrees in Mandan, North Dakota.
You know, Kevin was just showing me that a second ago. 66 degrees in North Dakota, where this Applewood smoked bacon and the sausages are made. And I want to point something out to you. It'll be May next week.
Yeah.
It's 66 degrees. It's going to be May. What are we still doing? It's crazy low temps in that area.
By the way, based on the research I did, they don't sell that brand of stuff here. They just pick up the workers from here.
Unable to find any, huh?
Yeah, just not happening.
You think they'd open up the market, you know? Just say, here, Cloverdale Applewood smoked bacon, right. made with Guamanian hands.
See, thank you. Yes,
right? It's just a marketing
home.
thing. I don't know. We'll work on this. Apparently they've done this before, and they've got some people that are already in the Cloverdale family over there, and they fly out. First thing they notice is, hey, it snows here. A lot. So let's make snow angels and do all of that stuff. Great story in there, and proof positive that there are jobs for people that want to get jobs, whether they might be here on Guam. And, you know, for some people, you know, we talk about this all the time. I don't know why, but it comes up every once in a while. And I've never really been one of those nomadic guys.
Right.
You know, I am born here. I was raised here. I lived in Hawaii for a little bit, and then realized that for whatever reason, Hawaii can be one of the most uptight places in the world. I mean,
on Oahu, yes.
Yeah, I mean, there just seem to be so many rules. Hey, let's go to the beach. And you go, okay, well, I'll bring the barbecue grill. Oh, you cannot barbecue there, not at that beach. Okay, well, I'll bring the cooler and put some beer in it. And said, no, you don't bring the cooler with beer to the beach. To the beach in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I thought,
well, you can on the Big Island. That's why I lived on a big island.
Yeah. So it just occurred to me, you know, when I was like 21, 22, something like that at the time, and it occurred to me that all of the things that I really wanted to do, I'd probably be able to do here under perpetuity on Guam. So, you know, you come back and do that. But I've never had the real strong desire to live anywhere else but here. Cost of living notwithstanding, you know, it's nice. You go to the States and you visit with family and friends, and they tell you that gas is $2.65, and you go into a grocery store and there are 1,000,001 things in the grocery store that you've never even seen before.
Yeah, your mouth will literally be agog.
Yeah, you go.
Look around.
How many different kinds of cheese do people need, and how many different cuts of meats do people need? I thought there were just 4 or 5, right? But anyway, so I've never had that kind of wanderlust, but I understand that there are people that do, and for those of you, there are opportunities that you might be able to find off island. You know, I talk about groceries and being able to eat. And there's a story I was looking at yesterday, and it occurred to me that maybe I've got an opportunity to talk about today. Carmen Terlahi wrote the story, Eat with Caution, says the CDC after lettuce is found with E. coli. Did you see that story?
I have seen it, yeah.
This is an interesting story. Lettuce, a common staple for our favorite foods and salads, but now the CDC warns of an E. coli outbreak linked to romaine lettuce. So this is the whole point that I have in my head.
Right.
I don't like salads with romaine lettuce. I like salads with iceberg lettuce.
That's me too.
What people have referred to in my life as howley lettuce. That's the way I like the lettuce in my thing. So I would turn my nose up at it anyway. I love this line. Don't eat any romaine lettuce unless you know where it comes from, and it's not Yuma, Arizona.
Right. Nice.
There's a stamp. You go to the restaurant, they bring out the salad. It says that this is made from salad that is not from Yuma, Arizona, which is apparently the headquarters of this outbreak. So be on the lookout. Like I said, it just romaine lettuce apparently that's linked with this E. coli deal. So don't, if you can avoid it, just make sure that's not the kind of greens that are going in your salad or your sandwich.
You know, technically speaking, we're not even supposed to be able to grow lettuce in Yuma, Arizona. It's in the middle of the Mojave Desert. So
is that?
Oh, absolutely.
Not-
It's right
not
there on
good?
it's right there on the border with California. Yeah, they are right in the desert.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. I forgot to go to 4-H when I was a little kid. All right, so items in the table of contents today, 20 after 6 o'clock, and already a bunch of people that have logged on to the Facebook Live page. I'll go over the names here in a second. No, let me do it now. My cousin Tommy's there, and there's Greg Massey, and Al Pablo Regis Bearana, and Zita San Augustine, Lillian Cruz. Good morning, Lil. Good to see you there. Carl and Jerry Gutierrez. Their name, Carl's name and cousin Fred's name might come up in the conversation this morning. There's supposed to be this gubernatorial forum taking place over at Teedson High School, and they're not going to be in it. And maybe we'll get one of the movers and shakers on this and start talking about it. Hey, Denise Mesa Mendiola, good to see you there. Bob Lizama, Lynn, Vince, Borja Polino. There's plenty more. Ruben Botera, Nick Perlowski, Jim Howard, Charlene, Marcia So is there again. Good morning, Char. Felix Regis and Valerie Lynn waiting for me to say Frank Uggins Jr.'s name on the radio. And he might be an interesting guy to talk to this morning, just based on a conversation they were having over at the legislature yesterday about what to do with the procurement for Simon Sanchez High School. Now, the conventional wisdom is, and there is already a procurement mess for that particular project. And they're trying to wrap their heads around what a fully equipped or functional school is, what the definition of that is. But their current protests that need to get resolved before any of the construction at Simon Sanchez can get started, regardless of who is doing the procurement, whether it's DPW or whether it's the Department of Education. But really, really interesting. And personally, I think maybe what they ought to try to do is you get a bunch of students from the school, and you divide them in like 3 or 4 groups, and then send them to the other schools. And then while they're going to the other schools, you take a bulldozer and you knock Simon Sanchez down to the ground.
Start over.
But I'm sure we'd mess up the procurement on even that. I'm sure, we get the bulldozer guys. We have 5 bulldozer guys, and one of them is going to get the contract, and another's going to complain about it.
For the past 2 days, that's been the only subject under discussion at the legislature.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Line by line, word by word, they've been going over the bill. They want to make sure that no mistakes are made this time, I guess.
But we still got to get through the first protest before they do anything with it. I mean, they can pass the law and turn it into pass the bill, turn it into a law, but they still got to eliminate the existing protest, right?
It has to be resolved. Yeah, that protest is currently before the Superior Court, and everything's been stayed before the OPA.
It just seems to me it's just going to so 2 days worth of just rearranging furniture.
Well,
it
rearranging words on the page.
Yeah, and put this word over here, put a comma there, and an or will strike this, and at the end of the day, there's still nothing to be done about
And
it.
don't forget, there's going to be a notwithstanding in there somewhere.
I'm sure absolutely. We like the phrase notwithstanding. Well, the legislature does. I personally don't like it because they get to choose when things are notwithstanding, and I'm not. You think Valerie would come on? Jim Tillman thinks that Valerie might want to get on. I don't know. I've never asked her. I've never asked her. If you want to, you got the 888-8255 is the phone number if you want to chime in on that particular one. I don't know that Valerie would, but the offer's open for anybody really to start talking about that. But there's one really interesting thing, and I haven't had a chance to take a look at the bill. I'm going to print it out. And if I don't print it out, I'm going to ask Mike or Kevin to print it out. There's a bill, I guess it was offered up by Senator Dennis Rodriguez, as in, I really, really, really want to be the governor of Guam. And you know what? In order to be the governor of Guam, you've got to go out there and promise people free stuff. And the free that he's talking about is free Wi-Fi. Free Wi-Fi, free data for everybody. Hit it? Free data for everybody. I was thinking more of the yay. I was thinking more of the little kids with the yay thing. Do we have that?
Yeah. No, that's really heavenly, though. I mean, come on. Just think. I mean, what would Docomo charge us for now?
Well, the point that I will make on this one here, and like, remember when Bernie Sanders was on with the debate and Hillary Clinton, and they, towards the end of it, they started talking about let's see if we can just throw out as much free stuff at people as possible.
Right.
Free college education, ladies and gentlemen. And one of the first lessons I think I learned as an adult is there's no such thing as a free lunch. And if they're talking about free Wi-Fi, does that mean that somebody else is going to have to pay more for the Wi-Fi that they have in order to support the free? I got to pay more for this data plan because the government has decided that there is going to be this free data program for everybody else. And I don't know if I want to pay any more for anything to support somebody else mooching off of some free Wi-Fi and some free data for me. So I don't know about that particular one, and it's not just me being stubborn. I wonder how it's going to work. I'm sure that there are some places where there's always been the promise of free data, free Wi-Fi out there. There's all kinds of places you go when you travel. Isn't that the first thing that you do when you get off the airplane? Is you start looking for some kind of connection to the internet, and sometimes if you're at the airport, they've got one there. I remember when the last time I was in San Francisco International Airport, you go to the McDonald's there, and there's free Wi-Fi. And I have been known to camp out outside of, and they changed it because United, at the lounges at United, it used to be kind of a free deal. But it's still kind of free, but you got to have the passcode. And in order to get the passcode, you've actually got to be inside the place to see the signs. It's Global 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or something like that. But I've been known to camp out right outside some of these places so that I could get my hands on some Wi-Fi. And I suppose that there might be some municipalities that have got a great relationship with, I don't know, Apple or Google or whoever it is. And maybe they're getting their hands on some free Wi-Fi. So how will that work out with us here? As I said, when somebody starts talking about free, it usually means that whoever is paying the bill somewhere is probably going to have to pay a little bit more. And so Mike, there he goes. Mike has found the legislation. An act to, it's very simple legislation here, too. An act to add a new section to Chapter 50G Guam Code, annotated GEDA, Guam Economic Development and Commerce Authority, blah, 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 relative to directing the Guam Economic Development Authority in collaboration with the Office of Technology to develop and publish a request for information relative to how an interested contractor, internet service provider, or operator would design a municipal Wi-Fi service to provide internet access to the entire island of Guam. Hooray!
Is that better?
Well, I think isn't there Guam Wi-Fi? And Docomo has a system.
They do.
Where, and I'm have been a customer of theirs for a long, long time.
Right.
I don't know how to access it.
That's the problem. See, and I don't either. And they say, well, you can go anywhere and access your public Wi-Fi.
Right. So
well,
if you've got an account, and I go, okay, well, how do I? Well, it's not. I don't think it's anywhere. I think it's like GPO and the Micronesia Mall and again your shopping center and a few other places. So if you are a customer of theirs, there's a way that you can go in and access it. But I've never been able to figure it out. I've called them a couple of times, and it's not their fault. If you're from Docomo, if you're one of the Toms at Docomo, and you're listening and going, why is he railing on us? No, I'm not. It's my fault. And here's the problem. My password at probably shouldn't say this. It's too late now. My password at Docomo is based on my first grade teacher. From Cathedral Grade School, and anybody that knows me has already got the answer to the question. The problem is you can spell her name about 3 or 4 different ways. And so when I call them up and I say, okay, I'd like to get some access, one of the first questions they ask, because they care about security, is, okay, what's your password? And I'll tell them. And they said, well, how do you spell that? And I can never remember which spelling I've used for it. It's right. So I don't I don't know. This is a first world problems. I can't remember the spelling of the password, and God help me. What'll eventually happen is I'll find out what the password actually is, and I will substitute numbers or letters for symbols or numbers. I'm fond of doing that as well.
Okay.
So I might come up with the correct spelling, and they'll say, "Is that with an I or an exclamation point?" And at that point, I just say, "Listen, I really appreciate your help, and you've been very, very helpful and thoughtful, but this isn't working out, and I just never mind." If can I give you my Social Security? Can I give you my mother's maiden name instead of the password with multiple spellings on it? One of these days, I'll get around to fixing it. But it'll be interesting to see how this works out. Now, it doesn't say anywhere in here about free, so I don't know exactly how we're going to either compensate or be compensated for it. But it is going to be interesting to see how this is all going to work out. Yeah, no caps on the internet, on the home bundle. That's also nice. Lady D is chiming in. Free Wi-Fi at San Francisco Airport and many Silicon Valley cities. You're absolutely right. There is. Santa Clara, the city, has free Wi-Fi all the way throughout. But the question is, Lillian, who pays for that? Is that just something that the big Wi-Fi company says?
The fact is,
maybe it's advertiser supported too.
Yeah, whatever company would win the contract, they're just going to pass that cost back to the general consumer base.
I think maybe that would be the way to do it. I have been in some places where there is the access to the internet through some global Wi-Fi thing, but in order to get there, somebody is paying, and in some cases it's the advertiser. You have to say, all right, I'm going to watch a minute worth of ads. And programs like that here, where you've got these phones, right? And the phones are essentially free. And you pick up the phone, and the first thing is, or you turn the thing on, you go to the home screen, and there's an advertisement for somebody. And that subsidizes the cost of the phone. Lillian says the city is actually paying the bill on that one. Interesting conversation. 888-8255 if you want to jump in on it and tell me what your experiences have been with free or limited cost Wi-Fi, and whether you think something like that might be good around here. It's 6:32 in the morning. This is the Ray Gibson Show on The Point. And one of the things that we like to do around this time is jump in and find out what the big headlines are. From the Guam Daily Post, here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 33 minutes past 6 a.m. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning: a former school aide at a Jigo Elementary School has been arrested after admitting to sexually abusing an 8-year-old girl at the school and harassing another 7-year-old girl. 31-year-old Sean David Cruz, charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct, including a special allegation involving a vulnerable victim. Guam police responded to the criminal sexual complaint at the school on Monday. Court documents do not name the school. Guam Department of Education spokesperson Isa Baza said Cruz is no longer an employee of Guam DOE. Senator Dennis Rodriguez would like the Guam Economic Development Authority to explore the possibility of providing island-wide internet service at no or very low cost. A bill introduced by the senator would direct GIDA, in collaboration with the Guam Office of Technology, to issue a request for information to find out if there are any for-profit or non-profit entities that might want to partner with GovGuam to provide universal internet access to the entire island. The senator, who is a candidate for governor, said that island-wide Wi-Fi would improve our education, both in schools and online, enhance our emergency response system, and drive economic growth. Bill 276 is only asking for expressions of interest and information, not bids. The bill states that the goal is to use the information gathered to develop a budget request, which would lead to a more formal proposal. In a sign of the times, the Guam Visitors Bureau has added social media to its marketing strategies. GVB President Nate DeKnight yesterday telling the Guam Chamber of Commerce that the Visitors Bureau is working with social media facilitator Beautiful Destinations in order to develop content about Guam. It's part of GVB's Insta-Guam campaign, which was launched earlier this year. The campaign focusing on a few major East Asian cities and promoting Guam as an instant destination. One part of the promotion encourages Guam residents and visitors to create their own story-driven content on social media. tonight telling the chamber that GVB has partnered as well with AKB48, a Japanese pop group that has signed on as an official Instaguamer, promoting Guam on Instagram. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Gotcha. Studio time, it's 6:35. iConnect time is 6:35. Connect longer for less. That's the big buzzword next door. Connect longer for less with iConnect's push-to-talk and mobile plans.
Kinetico water treatment customers don't keep coming back. They're satisfied the first time. That's right. Kinetico non-electric water treatment systems take care of your water problems, and you won't need to keep calling us for repairs. Join the list of satisfied Kinetico customers who purchased their non-electric water systems years ago and are still enjoying clean, conditioned water without any hassles from timers or circuit boards.
American Water Tech. Smarter water. Better water. Call American Water Tech at 649-2301 or email them at info@americanwatertech.com. Is there traffic at 6:36 in the morning? Well, not a whole lot of it right now. I was just looking at the maps a second ago, and there was a little bit of an issue as you're snaking your way through Tumon just before you get to about Pleasure Island, the density of Pleasure Island. But that's probably going to clear off a little bit later on. Up north, is there anybody building? Maybe on the way south, just before you get to the intersection of 1 and 3. But otherwise, everything looks very, very clear this morning. That's right now traffic here on The Point.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
The Ray Gibson Show. News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out.
Well, the concept of Wi-Fi access, data access, island-wide, is getting a little bit of attention on the Facebook page here. You can jump in on that if you want to. Just go open up your Facebook. You already got it open? Okay, so go to thepoint.gu on Facebook and just click on the video, and then you can tune in and you can watch what happens in the studio. Number one, that's the cool thing. The other cool thing is that you can chime in with your thoughts. John Bowinkle says island-wide Wi-Fi, like island-wide cell phone service. You know, it basically goes over the same systems, pretty spotty cell service in some places. If you're having that issue, your carrier needs to know about it. And, you know, I work with carriers, and trust me, they don't like it when they hear about spotty service, and they've got technical people that they can roll out. And sometimes it's just something needs to be tightened up. So if you got a problem like that, call your guys and let them know. John also says free Wi-Fi might be a draw for tourists to have free Wi-Fi throughout Treasure Island, even outdoors. Could or would the businesses pay for it? Okay, so there is a side hustle that I had going for a little bit. And parts of that side hustle involved me trying to roll out a cellular smartphone system to businesses all over Tumon. And they got this. I mean, it's all over Hong Kong. I mean, there are millions of these things in Hong Kong, and they're blossoming huge in Japan. And basically, the way it works is you check into the hotel, and they've got a smartphone there. And you can take the smartphone, and it's got Wi-Fi, and you can use it as a hotspot for tethering. It'll tell you where the nearest buffet is. It'll tell you where the nearest curry is, or teppanyaki, or attractions and things like that. And I'm here to tell you that many of the businesses, and I like to think I'm a decent salesperson, right? But many of the businesses that I talked to just did not want to pick up on it. You know, they'll find us. The businesses, they'll find us, and they'll do it without this system the same way that it's being done now, in the same way that Nate DeKnight is talking about doing it at GVB. And it is social media. Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, whatever the Japanese and Korean versions of all of that are. I spend enough time on the roadways, up and down, jogging and walking and driving, and it's hard not to spot the tourists in the cars these days. The Japanese are in the convertibles, and the sedans are driven by the Koreans, and they've got the gizmo attached to the window of the car, and they're watching their smartphones to figure out where it is that they're going to be going. And they tell me that the Koreans especially are really, really keyed in on social media. And so if somebody says that you can find a really good hamburger, especially a celebrity, at Mezcla Dos, right up the street, right there, down the road, 100 yards, then you cannot get into Mezcla Dos for 6 months, because the Koreans will start lining up for the place at 11 o'clock in the morning, and they'll be there until 9 o'clock at night, because the celebrity Michael Knight said they make a pretty good cheeseburger there. And you'll see that. You wonder, why there seems to be a lot of Koreans or tourists in some places. It's because social media told them that there's something really genuinely good about that experience, and you ought to try it. So
yeah, my burger and beer endorsements are coveted.
Exactly. So we moved through that. My very close friend, personal friend, Ron McNinch. We got to get him early because there's school today or something like that. Good morning, Doc. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, Ray. Happy day, Guam.
I was very, very interested in the op-ed piece that you were writing about today, and it goes along the same lines of something that you and I have talked about time and time again. There really only are two options. Are we going to get closer to the United States, or are we going to get further away from the United States?
Sure.
But you'd also proposed something else, and this seemed like a new wrinkle between you and I in the conversation, and that is to take the draft Constitution that we put together in 77,
right,
and resubmit that to Congress.
Well, I don't even think we need to resubmit it. I think Congress has already approved it. And it's just waited ever since for us to approve it. And I think that if we approved it with an implementation hold, that is, we approve the Constitution, but then we don't implement it until we amend certain parts of it that are a few problems. I think that's the key.
Now, when we make those amendments, would we have to go back to Congress and just make them aware of it? Would they have to reapprove it at their level?
No, I don't think so. I think that, and again, I don't know because we haven't tested it yet, but I think that if we did approve the Constitution and then we went through the appropriate amending process to fix parts that really they don't fit anymore because too much time has passed.
Yeah. I mean, imagine just with the change in the rapid rate of change in technology, access to information, how much of that might have an impact on the existing Constitution. Don't disagree with that. Now, but you and I had always talked about just taking the Organic Act and saying that for now this will be our Constitution.
Yeah, that'd be a great way to do it also. And in fact, all we do is say the local portions of the Guam Organic Act are our Constitution. We thread those parts out, put an amendment clause on those parts, submit it to Congress, and Congress would have no choice but to approve it because the Organic Act is their document anyway.
Right. So that's kind of the wrinkle. Now, it's not the first time I've heard the idea of taking the product of the Constitutional Convention in the 1970s and then approving that here. That actually came from a conversation I had in the front yard of Carl Gutierrez's house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, my mom's nickname for Carl back in those days was Carl Concon. Because that's what it was called, the Constitutional Convention, and I want to say he was the chairman.
Yeah, and he was the chair, and the delegation went to President Carter. President Carter met with them and signed off on it after Congress had blessed it. And then we ended up, again, and I got to tell you, there were some problems with that draft that I don't think somebody spotted, but I wish they had. And one problem with the draft is it's so hard to amend that Constitution given the language in the amendment portion, because they require a percentage of all registered voters to amend the Constitution rather than just people who actually vote at an amending election.
Oh, I see what you're saying, but generally you'd want there to be some hoops and hurdles to changes to the Constitution. You want to make sure it's right up there with the Bill of Rights. There are going to be some things in here that we're going to put in that we believe should be hard to take out or otherwise adjust. The Constitution is a significant framework and foundation for self-governance.
But
I mean, it shouldn't be something as simple as a resolution at the legislature is my point. But anyway, so I we'll finish up the conversation because I wanted to bring Uncle Carl in and maybe the both of you. Maybe the both of you on the line talking about this. As I said, the idea of patriating the existing Constitution, approving it, and saying this is what we got actually came from a conversation. What was it? A couple of years ago, Uncle Carl, in the front yard.
Right. I mean, and I think that's recent also as my interview with you there a couple of months ago.
Sure.
And on Jesse Lujan on the Buzz. I mean, this has been my campaign for the last 6 years, saying that a lot of these problems we're facing now is because we are working on local legislation through the Organic Act. And I did make research that we have had our Constitution approved by the Congress of the United States, the President of the United States, President Carter, and the only problem we had was it wasn't ratified by the people of Guam because the activists at that time said that if we approved this Constitution, because we wrote it under federal guidelines, was that we would lose all future rights for negotiations for self-determination. Well, it's been 40 years, and we haven't done anything with our self-determination. We could have had a Constitution that takes away about 90% of the Organic Act, and we can focus ourselves on the 10% that was left over that deals with federal-territorial relations. And in that context, I had even talked about instituting, after the Organic Act is done, the Constitution gets ratified, is to set up a federal commission which received a positive reception in the White House and in Congress, that we set up a federal commission appointed by the President of the United States and the Congress to set up maybe 3 federal employees, secretaries. Like, we didn't want Interior in there. We wanted State Department, Department of Defense, and maybe just that, and a local representative to review all bills sent into Congress, in the Senate and the House, to see what the impact is to the territories, Guam particularly, and submit a report before anything is done with that legislation in the past, because we believe that one size does not fit all.
Well, could you imagine if something like that had been in place when they passed the EITC legislation?
Yes.
I mean, as a simple example, Guam is not on equal footing with the rest of the states where it comes to payment of EITC, funding for the payment of EITC.
It is correct, and that was a one-size-fits-all directive.
Yeah.
So that and as I researched this thing, that the Constitution, as it sits right now, has been approved by the President of the United States as required by federal law, and approved by Congress. Remember that authorizing the Constitution law.
I don't remember.
The Virgin Islands and Guam. Virgin Islands has submitted 5 times, have never been approved by Congress, and always been sent back to them to rewrite it. Guam has a sitting approved Constitution by the federal bureaucracy. All we need to do is go ahead and ratify it, and then make those tweaking amendments immediately after it's ratified to set up the correction on the Department of Education, the judiciary, and move forward with that.
Dr. McNinch, what do you think?
Oh, well, I think that's wonderful. Good morning, Governor Gutierrez.
Good morning. I thought probably you heard me there in several places on the air promoting this thing for the last 6 years. That's what we should do. I even talked to you about it, and I said, this is what we should do, and you kind of shook your head and says, well, I don't know about that. But you and I had a conversation. I'm glad you had a change of heart and agreed with me.
Well, I certainly have to say, Governor Gutierrez, you always have very insightful views on these kinds of questions. And I again, I think it very well could be that we had the conversation and I might have forgotten it. But I do believe that these kinds of very rational, incremental ways of doing things is to our advantage. And that would be a very positive move for us if we started, discussing ways to deal with this Constitution concern. And I do believe it's a good, rational way to do it.
Right. I remember discussing this in your class while you were standing there at the same time 3.5 years ago. And but I just wanted to make sure that that as president of that Guam Constitution and the one that has been on top of this issue, that I think, we shouldn't forget that you could say that, Governor Gutierrez has the same idea, but not to solely forget our conversation or my speech in your classes about this very issue. I was the only one pushing for it.
And Governor Gutierrez, I also should point out, very, very importantly, you were chair of the Constitutional Convention, and I believe that group did an excellent job. It's hard work to do a Constitution, and I think a lot of good work by a lot of people good people was done, and you certainly were chair of that effort, and it was a very worthy effort.
All right. So thank you for that. The thing about it is that I know that the ratification process, you might want to make it easier, but we didn't want to make it easier. This is a Constitution, and we should make it a little bit harder than to just go in there, like Ray said, and do it by a resolution of the legislature.
Yeah, you need to make those kinds of things very difficult so that you spend a lot of time, a lot of sober thought, reflection, et cetera. Dr. McNinch, if you don't mind, I'm going to let you run, because I want to spend a little bit more time with Uncle Carl on the line, if that's all right.
Sure, and I do want to mention to everyone on Guampedia, the draft Constitution is on the Guampedia website. It's a very good document, by the way, and I encourage everyone to take a good look at it and think about it and discuss it. And certainly, thank you, Ray, and thank you, Governor Gutierrez, for including me in on the conversation today.
Well, I think it was a great way to start the conversation, Dr. McNinch. I'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much, gentlemen.
9 away from the top of the hour here. My name is Ray, and with me on the line is Uncle Carl T.C. Gutierrez, candidate for governor of Guam in the Democratic Party. He and my cousin, and I say that by way of disclosure, my cousin Uncle Fred Berdalio, running for that position. There is at 9:30 this morning, I believe, going to be a gubernatorial forum taking place at Tiedzin High School, and Carl and Fred will not be there. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's at 8:30.
8:30.
Yeah, we found out through the newspaper yesterday on the Post, and there was a Facebook post as well that this was a complete setup by an active agent of Lou Leon Guerrero and Joshua Tenorio. Mm-hmm. If you look in her website, inviting all millennials, she sits in class with all of her students for a year, and I'm sure that if she was recruiting, she would have recruited her students, millennials. And so we started looking into this thing after it ran in the Post. That's what they did to Fred Berdalio at the forum at Simon Sanchez. There must be a couple of agents for that camp setting it up because they didn't invite the gubernatorial candidate, just the lieutenant governor.
Sure, I remember that.
The only ones that showed up was Joshua, Fred, and Alicia Limtiaco. And we thought that everyone there thought that Fred gave the best presentation, and so did Alicia in the end. But when the voting came right after that, it was 51% for Joshua Tenorio, 8% and 11% for Alicia. And I said, oh, this thing's been rigged, absolutely rigged. And they're trying to do this same thing here at Tiedzin High, and that teacher should apologize to the people of Guam that she never disclosed her activities with the camp, and all you need is a few teachers collaborating with yourselves with those 300 students, and you've got another 51% going to whoever and however you present your position.
Yeah. So you think that it was a setup and there was no disclosure that one of the organizers was somebody that is actively involved in the campaign with Lou and Josh. Do you think you've got enough there to support a complaint to Pete Calvo over at the Civil Service Commission on a violation of the Hatch Act?
we're not too much worried about the Mini Hatch Act. We're worried so much about this teaching the kids how to rig elections, you know, and it's just bad. I mean, we're not too worried about whether she violated the Mini Hatch Act or not. We're violating an ethical code, and the students, you know, that know about it, is not going to be taught well.
What will you be doing then to reach out to some of these young millennials, 17, 18 years old, is going to be their first opportunity to vote? Are you going to be embarking on some campaigns specifically to get the younger vote?
Well, I think I've been invited more often than anyone else at the University of Guam, and I've been speaking to them, and I spoke at the JFK in front of 130 young, and I was the only one that was invited there to speak, you know, what our plans are. So we're reaching out. But just we don't like the shenanigans that's being played. It's a well-orchestrated campaign strategy by that camp to put the teachers in there to garner the millennials. Just take a look at that Candace Lizama's website, inviting all millennials to come and join to go to the Lou camp. So you can't say that she's inactive.
So it's Candace. You say it's Candace Lizama's Facebook post?
Yes, you take a look at her web page, and you see a glaring example of inviting all millennials to go have coffee and go to Lou and Josh camp to support Lou and Josh.
And so you think that based on that, her involvement in this gubernatorial forum creates an unlevel playing field?
That's right. And the thing about it is that when my director here at the campaign called the principal and asked her, we'll come up there and we'll do the presentation. And incidentally, it is not a debate. They gave the questions out a month and a half ago to everybody. Mm-hmm. So it's not a debate. And we said, why don't we just leave the voting out by electronic voting, and let's impart real information to the children and let them decide what to do in the election. She said, well, we'll get back to you, because definitely that teacher was compromised already. So they removed her, but they said they will still do the voting in class afterwards, and then put it out to the media and confuse the media about who did the best out there and who they're voting for. So I said if they left out the voting, we would have been there, but they didn't. They insisted to have the voting. What's more important, the voting or getting the information
or the form? Okay, I got you, Uncle Carl. I'll talk to you soon.
It's not a debate, by the way. She thought this out well, you know, to say give all the questions out, you know, to everybody. But why? What kind of a debate is that?
Yeah, well, my preference is for a debate. I'm not nuts about the forums. I like to see people mix it up, and in particular, after all of these years, I still love watching you in a scrap. Carl, I'll see you pretty soon.
Up there as a debate. That's right.
I got you. I'll talk to you pretty soon. You have a fantastic morning.
Thank you for letting me get in there to talk about the Constitution. I've been tired for the last 6 years. Trying to get somebody to introduce. I've been asked Rory Restuccio to introduce it. I asked Tina. I asked people there to introduce it since 6 years ago. Let's get the Constitution in.
Well, you could ask Dennis Rodriguez. I think he's introducing everything these days.
Yeah, but we have to pay for the ratification vote, though.
I see it pretty soon.
I do.
Still the one. So what did I get there? 10 minutes with Carl Gutierrez. He managed to call out 2 people. One of them was Ron McNinch while he was on the phone with him. No, you remember I told you this in your classroom. You were right there when it happened, and wouldn't let go of that. That was kind of fun. And called out Candace Lizama. I don't know that Candace and I are friends on Facebook. We will be soon. I'll go find her and add that, because I want to see what is in there. He thinks that it's going to be a setup. They're going to go in and they're going to make their forum points, and at the end there'll be this little election thing going on, and in the end it'll be Lou and Josh that are going to win. Now I don't know when they're going to be conducting this vote, but it might be worth looking at the results of the vote to see if Carl Gutierrez is in fact correct, and whether or not these guys end up winning in that little vote. It's interesting. He talks about confusing the media with the results of all of that. Anyway, we're closing in on 7 o'clock in the morning. Imagine what kind of adventures we'll have in the next hour of the Ray Gibson Show here on The Point. We're 93.3 KUSG Hagutnya. What you're going to hear when I'm done talking is Fox News Live. On the other side of that, my friend Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post is going to be going over some of the big stories. Some you've heard, and others maybe you haven't heard yet. But they're all going to be important, and I want you to hear them all right here at The Point. So that's all ahead, and I want you to stay right there, and I'll talk to you as soon as the news break is done.
Live from New York, the Fox Report.
I'm Lisa Brady. A crime spree that started more than 30 years ago may be solved in California.
My detectives arrested James Joseph D'Angelo, 72 years old, living in Citrus Heights.
Based on DNA evidence, Sacramento Sheriff Scott Jones says D'Angelo is accused of being the Golden State Killer, also known as the East Area Rapist and the original Night Stalker, blamed for 12 deaths and dozens of rapes and burglaries. He's a former cop, fired decades ago for shoplifting a can of dog repellent. The president's travel ban is now up to the U.S. Supreme Court, a decision expected in June. Opponents say it's discrimination aimed at banning Muslims. The administration insists it's only aimed at better vetting to address national security concerns. Jury deliberations continue at Bill Cosby's sexual assault retrial in Pennsylvania. Fox's Gernal Scott is live at the courthouse in Norristown.
Lisa, while we may not have an idea of how divided this jury actually is, two questions they had for the court point to specific issues. One was the definition of consent. The judge said each of the jury members had to define it on their own. Secondly, the jury wanted a readback of the star defense witness Margot Jackson's sworn statement. But Judge Stephen O'Neill didn't give them that either, saying they had to rely on their memories. Well, near the end of this day, the jury has been talking now for about 5 hours. And barring any surprises, we expect them to come back for more discussion tomorrow. Lisa.
Thanks, Colonel. Despite the recent criticism over privacy concerns, a positive first quarter earnings report for Facebook, topping estimates, and also a 13% jump in monthly average users for the quarter. That report came after the closing bell, though. The Dow up 59 points. On the Fox Report, fair and balanced.
Circle K has just made it easier to select products that are better for you and your healthier lifestyle. When looking for items that are low carb, low sodium, low calories, low sugar, high in antioxidants, or high in protein, just look for the easy to spot better for you labels so you can find these items at a glance. Come by and see for yourself. It has never been more convenient to fill up on anything and everything that are better for you. Circle K. Take it easy.
Are you waiting too long for a home loan decision? Are you looking for a bank that understands your needs and can close your loan quickly at today's super low rates? Then come no further than Bank Pacific. Our home loan specialists are friends and neighbors from your community, and our decisions are made right here in Hagutnya. Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, credit conditions apply. Viva Bank Pacific.
White House physician Ronnie Jackson, nominated to be VA chief, denies a report that he wrecked a government car while driving drunk, also facing allegations of improperly dispensing medications. The White House says after serving 3 presidents, he deserves a confirmation hearing, which for now remains on hold. The French president caps his state visit to Washington by addressing a joint meeting of Congress.
President Macron noted even good friends sometimes disagree as he scolded the U.S. for pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord.
There is no planet B.
He also called on President Trump not to abandon the Iran nuclear deal, but rather negotiate a new deal.
That's why France will not leave the JCPOA, because we signed it.
President Macron got a number of standing ovations, one of them for saying he supports upcoming talks with North Korea. He also referenced fake news, calling it a virus that threatens democracy.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland in D.C. Rapper Kanye West professing his love for President Trump online, calling the president his brother, saying they both have dragon energy, though they apparently haven't spoken recently.
Yeah, I know they met during the transition. That's the only meeting I'm aware of that's taken place or conversation.
White House spokeswoman Sarah Sanders, the president retweeting Kanye's post and thanking him for it, adding, "Very cool." Kanye then posting a picture of his Make America Great Again hat with the president's signature on it. Though he also sent a follow-up at the request of his wife, Kim Kardashian West, he says, emphasizing he doesn't agree with everything the president does. This email will self-destruct. That's one of the changes in the first significant update to Google's Gmail in 7 years. Users can add expiration dates to emails that contain sensitive information. Another change makes it more obvious when a message might be risky to click on, adding a warning in a red box. The updates are being phased in, so they're not all available yet. In New York, I'm Lisa Brady on Fox News Radio.
In this divided world, there are still a few things that unite us. The thrill of an exciting championship game.
Fires to the end zone. Touchdown!
The sound of great music.
The Grammy goes to...
And the love we have for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam presents to you For the Love of Burgers menu. For a limited time, we want you to put down that fork, tuck that napkin in your collar, and go for broke with an amazing burger for just $11.99. 8 burgers to try, and time is a-wasting. Ruby Tuesday Guam lunchtime. See you soon.
GTA's best internet deal has arrived. With fiber internet, you get up to 50 megabits of data per second for only $50 per month. And if that's not enough, Fiber Internet 50 plan includes free Wi-Fi. But this offer will only last through the month of April. So sign up today and get ready for faster downloads, more streaming, a better gaming experience, and a stable connection across multiple devices. Conditions may apply. Visit gta.net for more details. GTA, your island, your network.
Summer's right around the corner, but first shifting to spring with Triple J. With 0 down, 1.9% financing, and easy trade-in, now is the time to buy. Get into our big boy truck, the Ford F-150, starting at $217 per paycheck. Car and Drivers 10 Best, Mazda CX-9 at $242 per paycheck. The Mazda 3 Sedan at only $137 per paycheck. Or the North American Car of the Year, the 2018 Honda Accord at only $216 per paycheck. Visit us online at triplejguam.com and get pre-approved instantly. Some conditions apply. See dealer for details. Triple J Auto Group, customers first.
This time, let's hear it from the first KFC female colonel.
Smoky Mountain Barbecue, fried chicken so crispy and sweet. That crispy fried chicken. All right, stop, I can't do this. I thought if I dressed up like a country music legend, it would help KFC sell my delicious new Smoky Mountain Barbecue.
KFC, it's finger licking good.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 7 a.m. this Thursday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. A former school aide at a Jigo Elementary School has been arrested after admitting to sexually abusing an 8-year-old girl at the school and harassing another 7-year-old child. 31-year-old Sean David Cruz, charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct, including a special allegation involving a vulnerable victim. Police responded to the complaint at the unnamed Jigo school Monday, where they spoke with the 2 girls and then arrested Cruz. Guam Department of Education spokesperson Isa Baza said Cruz is no longer an employee of Guam DOE. A former Guam resident has been arrested in California in connection with a murder in Texas. 26-year-old Joseph Manuel Blas, currently being held in the Orange County Central Jail, awaiting extradition back to Texas. Blas, a former resident not only of Guam but of Harker Heights in Bell County, Texas. According to police, Blas is suspected in the March 10th fatal shooting of Thomas Raymond West. We'll have more news after this.
Relax, enjoy, and be greeted by the spectacular view of Hagåtña Bay when you visit the Point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam. Gaze into the beautiful sunset as you unwind to the music of Philip Garcia and Natasha on Wednesdays, Mama Shar and Nina on Thursdays, Philip Garcia and Louise Muñoz on Fridays, and Jack Larimer on Saturdays. Open daily from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Happy hour from 5 to 8 p.m. with all cocktail drinks for $7. Receive a discount when you present your SPG card. Call Peter Yaban at 646-2222 for reservations at the Point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam Resort.
Yes, money is something we should talk about and plan for and use to make life better. It's how we make our giant leap from where we are to where we want to be. So let's talk together and work together to check off shiny new kitchens, fully nested dorm rooms, and bucket lists with more countries than our passports can hold. Let's check them all off together. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC.
10 minutes past 7 a.m. here at the Point. The Guam Waterworks Authority loses almost 60% of the water it produces, according to an audit report released yesterday by the Office of Public Accountability. The audit states that 59% of water produced annually by GWA is not consumed. It is unaccounted for and contributes no revenue to the agency. GWA's aging infrastructure is blamed, of course. Waterline leaks are the largest single cause of water loss, although the report notes there are some cases of unauthorized water use and unbilled consumption. The audit report also says that GWA's net income rose by over $40 million in the last fiscal year, due primarily to the nearly $22 million in federal grants received by the agency. However, operating revenue dipped 1%, mostly because of a drop in water and wastewater revenues. Hotel water use revenues up by $383,000, but there was a $650,000 decline in residential water revenues. Guam Community College yesterday broke ground on renovations to Building 300, which will eventually house an expanded multi-purpose auditorium. GCC President Mary Okada said the expanded multi-purpose auditorium will have increased capacity and enable GCC to host larger and more diverse events, as well as enable catering some of those events from the expanded culinary kitchen. The renovation will cost about $4.5 million. GCC got part of that $1.2 million hazard mitigation grant from the Federal Emergency Management Agency. The building previously housed classrooms for the hospitality and tourism program. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Here's Ray with some weather.
Is there weather today? It says partly sunny with isolated showers and thunderstorms this morning, then scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms in the evening and overnight. East winds up to about 20 miles an hour today. Should dissipate a little bit once the sun goes down. Daytime highs 87 degrees and overnight lows should be about 77 degrees. Sunset tonight at 6:35. Sunrise this morning just after 6 o'clock in the morning, and I anticipate that by tomorrow morning should be 6:01. By Monday, it'll be at 6 when we start seeing the sun break the plane on the horizon. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
For over 55 years, Community First has served our island as a full-service financial institution. And now, we're proud to introduce the new Community First Student-Run Credit Union, open in Mangilao on Route 10. Guam's first student-run financial institution, which means it's operated by college students like us, ready to serve all our members, existing and new. We're just down the road from UOG and GCC. Community First Guam Federal Credit Union, now open in Mangilao. This credit union is federally insured by NCUA.
I hear what you're saying. 7:12 in the morning. The Ray Gibson Show brought to you by King's Restaurant, serving Guam favorites to families like yours for over 40 years. It's got to be close to 41 now. King's Restaurant's always open, always local.
Do you suffer from eye strain? If you work at a computer, follow the 20-20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, look 20 feet away for 20 seconds to reduce eye fatigue. Ensure you have the optimal prescription for your contact lenses and glasses. Early stages of common eye diseases typically have no symptoms and can only be detected with a comprehensive dilated eye exam. Call Lombard Health today to book an appointment at 989-4747. Guam's best eye care, one patient at a time.
Portions of the program also brought to you by Security Title, making sure you actually own the property you think you just bought.
Don't wait another day and waste another dollar. You can start saving today. At Guahan Insurance Services, we are here to help protect your investment and save you money. We offer insurance advising for business, car, and home insurance. So come and visit us at our new office at Camacho Landmark Center at Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning, and let us show you that you can count on us for all your insurance needs. Call 475-1162.
The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. Watch and listen live on thepoint.gu.
I got bad news, and I hate delivering bad. I really, really do. It's my one weakness, my one failure here when it comes to doing a live talk show on the radio is that we got to do news, and sometimes we got to deliver bad news. And the bad news that I have to deliver to you, that I'm not even going to wait until it's time, until the theme music is playing for the market report and all of that stuff. The bad news that I have to deliver here is that the Tapas has hit a new high for the year. As of right now, Tapas trading at about $75.86. Ouch. Ouch. That's $1.30 higher than it was when we were talking about it yesterday. And remember that these numbers, because of the way the Tapas is traded and the way the information gets out, these numbers are at least 48 hours old.
And that's
by the time I get it.
That's about $7, maybe $10 over what it was when this show started, February 1st.
Yeah, I want to say that. Yeah. It was the numbers have been up real high, and they continue to move. The last time I saw numbers like this was in the fall of was about 100. No, I'm sorry. It is not the high watermark for Tapas. If you go back in time on this, you can see that the Tapas has traded higher, about $120 worth of Tapas crude back in fall of 2013. But as I said, at $75.86, this is the high water mark for the year. And again, I got to make the point, guys, if you have not yet put gasoline in your car at $4.23, there's a very, very good chance that they could be raising the prices here at any minute. And it might even be a big bite too, from where it was when they put it at $4.23. It might be a bigger bite. So anticipate that, would you? West Texas crude. Let me see where the number on that one, $68 and a penny, up by 31 cents. But again, that doesn't necessarily affect us here on Guam. And try not to make the comparison. Well, gee, in the States, the gas is $2.65, and here on Guam, it's $4.23. Different oil, different pipelines, different refineries, different geographic locations. We get Tapas because it's the closest that we can get here on Guam for all of the gasoline distributors, and that's why the price is where it is. You cannot make that comparison. So,
and the fact is that if we use the West Texas crude, gas would probably cost more because of the
Can you imagine what it would cost to ship here?
charges?
Yes. All right. So that's where we are on that. You might have heard the lady on Fox News talking about, hey, the Dow's back up 59, almost 60 points to close at 24,083 and 83 points. Now the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the S&P 500 are the only two major indexes that are up today, and the S&P 500 is only up by almost 5 points, 2,639. Everybody else is in the red. The Nasdaq closed off by 3.5 points. FTSE is down by 46. The Nikkei is off by 62. Hang Seng Index is trading 308 points lower when they open up this morning. Shanghai is down by 10 points. So there you go. I don't know if that's a sure sign that we're going to be headed into a bear territory, but it doesn't look good on the markets today. And let me see if there's any other interesting stories that we're talking about. New York Stock Exchange has suspended trading in Amazon and Alphabet on the floor because of an issue with their $1,000 stock prices. Russia claims it has U.S. Tomahawk cruise missiles and will use it to improve its own. Who's giving the Russians our missiles? Who does that? Who does it? We got these great Tomahawk missiles, and somebody sent one over to the Russians. They're going to take it apart.
We lost a few in Afghanistan, I guess.
Actually,
Syria. I think all
Syria,
of those hit.
this latest hit in Syria, they say some of them fell and did not hit their targets and
No,
did
the
not
Pentagon
explode.
said. No, Pentagon said they sent up, 113 or 108 or something like that, and 108 detonated at their targets. They were talking about almost about 100% efficiency on that
and
one.
of course the Russians and the Syrians countered that with with their claims that they achieved about 75% success in shooting them down. So, who knows?
All right. And then there's this other story. The first drone warship has joined the Navy, and now nearly every element of it is classified. 140-ton, 132-foot-long robotic ship. How many people on board? 0. It is absolutely crewless. It is called the Sea Hunter. Wonder when that's going to be pulling into port. 7:18, that's what happened in the market, brought to you by all of us here at The Point. Oh, wait a second, I forgot. It's not time to go to commercial. Time to go to The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts.
One of the most famous quotes out of Hollywood is our focus today. I'm Jerry Roberts, and lights, camera, action. It's time for The Extra Point. The famous quote is from Konstantin Stanislavski, a Russian actor, director, and creator of a widely recognized teaching system for actors. He once said, "There are no small parts, only small actors." That means whatever role you play, give it everything you've got. Don't goof off and don't hold back. Whatever role it is, whatever work it is worthy of your best efforts. Years ago, I read the story of an actor who played a lot of small roles. I can't recall the name, but you'd know the face. He told his story of how he got involved in movies and TV. He began as an extra. These are the people you see on the screen who don't get any speaking parts. They're walking on the street, sitting at a table in a restaurant, maybe running across a battlefield. Once in a while, there's a close-up of their face, most times not. He said he was an extra in many huge movies, but if you blinked, you'd probably miss him. He made very little money doing it, but he met the casting people who decided which actors were offered speaking roles. They liked his energy and liked him, and eventually he landed parts as what is called a bit player, actors who get 5 speaking lines or less. He couldn't believe that he was in scenes with major stars. And though he had little to say, he treated each line as if it was the turning point in the production. He practiced his lines over and over and imagined how the star might respond. When the director said action, he was ready with the perfect energy and feel, regardless of what the star did. Directors noticed, and he got hired more often. After a number of years, the actor eventually landed a supporting role in a film where he had many lines and some of the best in the script. He brought the same solid work ethic and said he was even mentioned in some of the reviews, which resulted in even more jobs. When you think about it, you might see a resemblance to what can happen in the workplace. People often start out in a basic job. No glory, not much pay. If they display that good work ethic, they get promoted into a larger role, sort of like going from an extra to a bit player. They counter minimum wage with maximum effort, and they make people take notice. These are the seeds we can plant every day, which can help build a great career. Dabbs Greer, a bit actor you would surely recognize, said this: "Every character actor in their own little sphere is the lead." That means when you're doing your work in your area of the organization, you're the star of that scene. Give it your best. Start turning in award-winning performances now, and the starring roles may come sooner than you think. That's The Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, I'm Jerry Roberts.
That is my favorite part. I like the whole Extra Point thing, but I like the part at the end where he says, get out there and make something good happen today. It's 7:21 in the morning, and just ponder that while you got your hands around the steering wheel or around a breakfast thing that you're doing, or hanging out with the phone. Think about a cool, good thing that you can work on today. At 7:22, I'm working on the program here. Want to do shouts to Roel Bejarana. Casey's on the Facebook Live, so is Brad. Mo Cotton says, forget tapas, buy real estate. Great idea. And let me know what's happening with prices around here. Let me know what's happening with rentals, et cetera, et cetera. But the problem is I can't put real estate in the tank of the car and drive to the store to get groceries and beef jerky and cold beer. So we're going to have to work on something else there. Mark Mendiola's there, and Jeff Pleadwell's on, The Real Joe Cruz, Clint James, Ed and Karen Untalon. Good to see Desmond Mendel and Ike Isaki. Marvin, I like to call him. Most people just call him Ike. Chimed in this morning wanting to know what is Carl's secret to memory recall. He's talking about Carl Gutierrez and the idea that Carl Gutierrez remembers exactly when he spoke in Ron McNinch's class and brought up the idea of having the people of Guam approve a constitution that he was a chair of back in 1977. And my guess is he remembers everything about that as well. Ike, I'd like to know the same thing. I'd love to know the same thing. Here's the problem. If we had that power of recall, we could all be governors of Guam. I think that's one of his great strengths is he remembers everything, and he remembers every name. Every person he's ever been introduced to, he remembers their name just like that. You can tell me your name, and 5 minutes later, I'll come back to you and say, what was it again? In fact, I did it last night. 7:23 in the morning, and there's a bunch of people that are online, and you can join the conversation at facebook.com. Just look for thepoint.gu.
Circle K has just made it easier to select products that are better for you and your healthier lifestyle. When looking for items that are low carb, low sodium, low calories, low sugar, high in antioxidants, or high in protein, just look for the easy-to-spot, better-for-you labels so you can find these items at a glance. Come by and see for yourself. It has never been more convenient to fill up on anything and everything that are better for you. Circle K. Take it easy.
Yeah, I was just looking at this here a second ago. The last time I talked about traffic was, 55 minutes ago, and there wasn't much going on. But it is starting to slow down in all of the usual spots. The ramp from Route 3 to the Guam Regional Medical City, and that intersection is beginning to get thick. If you were southbound, Marine Corps Drive up in Dededo, headed towards Isang Song and Southern Points, you're going to start to experience some delays as traffic is building up there. Northbound traffic from the Regional Medical City into the front parts of Dededo are also starting to get a little bit busier. Not sure what's going on. It probably has everything to do with Carline on Route 14. Yeah, on the way into St. Anthony School and Tamuning Elementary. I've got a little bit of a buildup on the side of the street that will take you towards the old Guam Memorial Hospital. So expect some delays as that is beginning to slow down. Right now, traffic courtesy of The Point.
As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you.
You're looking for something to ponder this morning besides finding a way to do something great today or do something good today? Well, here's a ponderable that might work for you. Senator Dennis Rodriguez, gubernatorial hopeful Dennis Rodriguez, is in love with the idea of being able to get you internet access to the entire island of Guam. My presumption is that this internet access would be free, and it would help the kids with their school. Yay! Yeah, it's going to help the kids with their school. Look, I got kids. I know what they're all about. They're all about Snapchat and Instagram and all of this other stuff. And if you think there's any education, any learning that's actually going on with those smartphones and those smart devices, you got them. Just check around every once in a while. Just randomly go up to the kid and pick up their phone and see what's on it.
That's kind of like doing this to them.
Get up, it's Jesus Day.
Will it be something educational? Will it be something informative? It's probably going to end up being something that you say, I'm going to take this phone and you can't have it until you're 30. That's what might actually happen with this. So I don't know. I get the idea, and I like to think that I use the information technologies and the opportunities provided by ready access to the internet for purposes of education and goodwill.
I do. Cat
whatever.
photos.
Cat photos, yeah.
Yeah, the cats have taken
Yeah,
over the
so here's what the internet's good for: is checking up on your old girlfriends and boyfriends. As near as I can tell, that's or trying to make new girlfriends and boys. That's the whole point behind the internet. Yeah, you might actually every once in a while get stuck doing work on it, like we do here at in the morning show here on the Point. We use ours for work. That's how I get my hands on new pieces of legislation and vital stories that we pass along to you.
Yeah, well, and if not for the internet, I couldn't run the Facebook weather page.
Oh, here's another one. If it wasn't for the internet, we wouldn't be able to do phones. Our phone system is completely digital. It uses IP technology and what they call in the business a SIP. And I forget what it is, simplified something protocol or whatever. But that's how we get telephone calls into and out of the radio station. So it's all 100% digital, and it is vital that we have a strong internet connection here at the radio station so that we can be able to converse with each other. But there's going to be a change coming. I don't know exactly when they're going to be doing it. I know that there are some of the manufacturers playing around with the technology called eSIMs. So you have in your phone, you've got a SIM, right?
A SIM card.
Yeah, a little tiny SIM card. And they get smaller all the time. Well, they're about to become invisible. They're now going to burn the eSIMs into the phone itself. So you won't need the tray and you won't need the actual SIM, and it will allow you to change carriers like that. At drop of a hat. Travelers will be able to go and travel anywhere they want to, and if eSIMs are supported in that country, they will automatically identify themselves to the phone systems and say, hi, this is Kevin's phone, and Kevin has this carrier on Guam, and we'd like to get this carrier here. And they say that given that kind of technology, that kind of instant handshake, it should make it easier for travelers to be able to, hit the internet as soon as they land, and it should also help them do it without exorbitant roaming fees.
What will they think of next?
Well,
yeah,
I don't know.
Problem is,
well, it's gonna end up being, it'll make for thinner phones. I mean, that's the idea, is they're trying to make things as small and compact as possible on these phones. You remember Apple did that last year when they took out the phone jack.
Yeah, well, pretty soon a phone will just be a floppy piece of plastic that we can see through.
I'm waiting for the Retina implant.
That's
like
right.
I saw,
Yeah,
Altered Carbon is the show that I was watching, and every once in a while in Altered Carbon, the character would get distracted and a little light would flash in their eye, and that was their phone ringing and a message coming through.
Yeah, the eSIM technology not real popular with all of the carriers, though. And right now, the development of that technology is kind of halted because there's a legal feud going on between Verizon and AT&T.
Yeah, well, there's some people that are saying that it will actually make things harder to switch carriers, and that's not the idea. But I read up on that as well. 7:30 in the morning. This is the Ray Gibson Show on The Point. We'd like to give you some news at this time, if that's all right, from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day, good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 31 minutes past 7 a.m. And the headlines from the Daily Post this morning: the Department of Public Works has halted a 40-foot wide land clearing for an access road near the top of Barrigada Heights. Acting DPW Director Andy Leon Guerrero confirming the work was stopped after Guam EPA advised that its approval was necessary before the work can continue. Leon Guerrero said the Department of Land Management asked for the easement to be cleared on the access road, which leads to a number of Chamorro Land Trust properties. Under the Land Trust program, 99-year leases are granted to qualified applicants for $1 a year. Among the recipients of the lots in question in Barrigada is the mayor of Barrigada, June Blas, who was given a Chamorro Land Trust right-of-entry lease agreement in the area last year. It's unclear whether that was granted to Mayor Blas in her personal or official capacity. Blas was off-island and unavailable for comment yesterday. Overtime costs at the Department of Corrections expected to rise in the coming months, even with the additional manpower from the Guam Police Department, some of whose officers were detailed to DOC to help reduce overtime expenses at the prison, but not enough manpower to make up for the loss of a number of corrections officers who will soon be on leave to take part in annual military training. DOC has already paid out about $711,000 in overtime, with only $925,000 budgeted. And there's still 5 months left in this fiscal year. DOC has projected that overtime costs could reach more than $2 million. At a news conference yesterday, however, DOC Director Tony Lamarena stressed that DOC's main concern is safety and security and not saving money on overtime. The Guam Medical Association postponed a meeting on funding options for Guam Memorial Hospital last night out of respect for the ongoing survey of the hospital being conducted this week by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. The meeting was called for last evening at the Guam Congress Building, but a message sent to the membership yesterday states the GMA leadership, in consultation with community advisors, decided to reschedule the meeting. The message explained that the ongoing public discussion of GMH's needs needs to be done respectfully and rationally, and the GMA leadership has decided to postpone the membership meeting until a later date. No new date is mentioned in the message to members. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
iConnect time is 7:33. Connect longer for less with iConnect's push-to-talk mobile and internet plans.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,500 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545, Upper Tuon 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959.
It's a new sandwich at Wendy's, the new Southwest Avocado Spicy Chicken Sandwich. Now, anybody can do a spicy chicken sandwich, right? They're all over the place. They're everywhere. However, at Wendy's, they do what I like to call spiking the ball. Right? They're not just getting it over the net. They are spiking the ball on this Southwest Avocado Spicy Chicken Sandwich. You start off with the basic spicy chicken, right? Then they kick it up with pepper jack cheese. Getting hot? All right, we'll cool it down, some Southwest Ranch, and then we're going to put Applewood smoked bacon on it because we're Wendy's, and we bacon everything. And, yes, let's start using the word bacon as a verb. Shall we? Yes. Bacon that, would you?
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna bake in this spot real quick.
We're trend-setting, baby. Creamy avocado on top of that. Also available, the new Southwest Avocado Chicken Salad for those of you that don't want the bread part. Available for a limited time at the nearest Wendy's. Try one today. Wendy's, now that's better.
Shall I bake in this button right now?
I'm gonna, and then we'll come back and we'll bake in the blurb for the First Hawaiian Bank.
Very nice.
Why pay for paper? Go paperless for $3 less. Move into e-billing and reduce your carbon footprint while enjoying an easier, faster, and more secure way to receive and view your bills. No more paper clutter or waiting for the mail. Go green and sign up today by checking out DocomoPacific.com or calling 688-CARE. Why pay for paper? Go paperless for $3 less. Docomo Pacific, better together.
Portions of the program brought to you by my friends over at First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
Another look at traffic, sure, why not? Let me take a quick gander at it. Up and down Route 14 and around the St. Anthony School to Mooning Elementary area, I got traffic that is building in both directions. Right in front of Lone Star, Marine Corps Drive northbound is beginning to build up as well. Who's getting heavy here? I got somebody getting real heavy. Starting to get heavy on Route 3. A lot more traffic on the road. I'm not saying it's moving slow. I'm just saying the traffic is building, and I anticipate the next time I give you a traffic report, the next time I look at the traffic gizmo, we're probably going to see some slowdowns in front of Guam Regional Medical City for people that are trying to get through that intersection and on the Marine Corps Drive. Which way are they going to be headed? Probably south, but we'll keep an eye on this and let you know in a couple of minutes. 7:35, that's right now traffic on the point.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
I can't tell you what a great feeling it is. You know, the alarm goes off at just after 4 o'clock in the morning, and I am usually up before that because I just raring to get in here and talk to you and Kevin and Mike about all kinds of stuff that's going on here. I got the Gibson sense of humor that's working, and even Ed Untalon says, I love that bacon. I mean bank. Yeah, starts with yes, as they say. So where do we want to go here in the next 20 minutes? I don't. There's a bunch of stuff that we can talk about. I spent a little bit of time in the last hour talking with initially Dr. Ron McNinch about the idea. One of the things that he and I have talked about for years is patriating, if you will, the Organic Act and taking that to Congress and saying this is what we'd like to start off with as our de facto constitution. It's their document. Their body is likely to support it and say, yeah. Okay, well, let's do that, and then we'll talk about making it so that we can do more frequent, I suppose, local amendments to that. But the reminder is that we've already got a constitution that has been approved by Congress, has been approved by the President of the United States, Jimmy Carter, back in the olden days, and maybe we ought to take that one out there and start using that instead.
I never knew that. That was news to me.
Interesting.
This morning,
It's an interesting conversation, and nice that if you want to take a look at it, it's at the Guampedia, and we might be interesting to dust that off a little bit and see where we can go. Of course, Governor took an opportunity to call out Ron McNinch and saying, yeah, this is not a new idea for you. I gave you this idea a couple of years ago when I spoke in front of your class once upon a time. Also took advantage of the opportunity to call shenanigans on Candace Lizama and her organization, or the role that she is apparently playing in a forum, a gubernatorial forum that is supposed to be taking place at Tiedzen later on this morning. And if you have intentions to go there, don't look for Carl and Cousin Fred because they ain't going to be there. They said this is a setup. Is what it is, and we're going to go through this thing, and everybody got the answers in the first couple of we all got the questions lined up, so we know what the answers are going to be, and then they're going to do one of these straw polls, and Lou and Josh are going to win, the same as they did when they did the forum for lieutenant governor candidates once upon a time. So Governor Carl in rare form this morning. If you missed it, we'll put it up on the Facebook for you a little bit later on. And another thing, I'm a creature of social media myself. And so I have Facebooks and Twitters and Instagrams and all of that stuff. And I was cruising Twitter this morning and saw a post from John Fernandez, who I follow. Let me put this post up on the internet so that you can see it. If you're watching on Facebook Live or at thepoint.gu, here's the post. John Fernandez asking to retweet this message if you think it would be a good idea to allow me to take the lead in building a new Simon Sanchez High School. It's more work, more pressure, and more responsibility, but you students asked me to lead, and if that's what you want, I will give it my all. And this is a message to the students, and it's already got, 200 or so retweets from his followers. There, and in the world of social media on Guam, there's Pia Mia, and then there's John Fernandez. I'm serious. I mean, there's a ton of people following John Fernandez. This guy is loved, and it's amazing. Most of the Twitter followers, if I go through the list correctly, are former students and students in the Guam Department of Education system. And so I will give you this warning here at the legislature. This is a shot across the bow. This is what he wants, and this is his way of getting the students lined up to back him up. And trust me when I say this, guys, John Fernandez is more beloved than any of the 15 people over at the legislature.
Yeah, when I got here last year, because I'm new, this whole thing was just kind of getting its legs, the whole controversy that was going on with the superintendent. And I was struck by the way that the kids rallied behind him. Now, of course, a lot of that's organized, but you can't make kids do what they don't want to do. They really, really love Mr.
Yeah. And the idea that there are kids following him on Twitter, which is not their preferred social media, is amazing to me. So he's got the retweet campaign going, guys, over at the legislature. And I know from talking to Kevin Kerrigan over the last couple of days, this has been all they were talking about at the legislature, and he is now rallying up his troops to see if he can get their their nod of approval. And if they give him that nod of approval, trust me, it's not going to be too long before they take that nod back to the legislature and get the vote that they're going to be looking at. It ain't mob rule. That's the way it works in 2018. 7:42 in the morning, and a story that you might have heard Kevin Kerrigan talking about just a few minutes ago, an audit of the Guam Waterworks Authority, where they find that 59% of the water that they produce is lost to leakage of one kind or another. We had him on the air yesterday, but I don't know that anybody knew that the audit was going to be coming out, so I didn't obviously get a chance to talk to Joey Duenas from the Consolidated Commission on Utilities on it, but he's on the line now. Good morning, Cousin Joey.
Hey, good morning, Ray. Good morning, people of Guam. Hey, I'm sitting here talking to Bill Gibson. You know what? It's crazy. I'm talking to Hagan.
Wait, who are you talking to there?
Bill Hagan.
You're talking to Bill Hagan over breakfast?
Yeah.
Tell the deacon he needs to spend some time praying for me and my old man, okay?
Oh, okay.
All right. Just because I know.
I will give him the message.
I appreciate it, because when Bill Hagan talks to God, God listens. So anyway, it's so tell me about this. It's almost 60% leakage.
Well, there's a lot of. It's not a leakage. It's what we call non-revenue water rate, which means it doesn't show up in a bill. Some of it is due to malfunctioning meters. Some of it is due to theft. Some of it is due to leaking lines. A lot of it is due to leaking lines.
Yeah.
It's a number of things. It's not one thing.
So leaky lines and theft and malfunctioning meters, you said?
Yes. Meters break down every once in a while, right?
Oh, okay. Well, I thought we bought a whole bunch of them when what's it?
We do. And we're begun cheese and bacon. Wheat bread.
Wait.
Okay.
Wait a second. No. Hold on. Where are you eating breakfast?
King's.
At King's. At King's. All right. Great. Where else is it now? What you need to get something with bacon in it, okay?
Yeah, I was going to say. Gotta have bacon.
A little bit. I did. Anyway, Ray. We are working on this now. That's where this updated master plan that we're working on comes into play.
Okay.
Because we need to do a lot. We have an old system that was not well designed, not well constructed, and not well maintained over the past 6 years. People put in a 2-inch water line, put it 6 inch down below the dirt. Dump trucks are now running over it.
Yep.
Backhoes are running over it, so it keeps breaking. We keep patching it. We need to put in a brand new 6-inch line, but that comes with money. And who's going to pay for it?
Got to tear up the road. Got to dig. Got to bring the ditch witch in. You got to lay out the new pipe, make the connections at both ends.
And we still have to do all the other things that make us compliant with U.S. EPA regulations. That's kind of like at the top of the list too, right?
Okay.
So there's a mountain of things. The good takeaway is we did a master plan back in 2006. It's a 20-year master plan. Guess where we are? We completed 30% of the projects. We've got 40% of those projects underway. We have another 15% that we're going to work on, and we decided the 15% we didn't do. Remember, we talked about that.
We went through that yesterday. So let me bring us to where we are today. So we've got, what did you call it? Non-revenue producing.
Non-revenue water.
Non-revenue water. Okay, and you said now I can't call it leaking, even though leaking is part of the problem.
Leaking is part of the problem.
Okay, the other part is we're not able to capture the use on the meters. About what percentage of meters are failing?
Ray, to be honest with you, I don't know that. I'm not the operations guy. Remember, I'm not the general manager.
Yeah, I know, but you're the commissioner of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities.
I don't keep on top of that every day. I don't look at numbers. I don't spend that much time. If I did that, Ray, I'd want to be the general manager.
But it's easier to bug you than it is to bug Miguel. So all right. So maybe let's see if I can find. We'll get my hands on the audit and see if that's something that is referred to in there. Sure. Part of it also is theft of service.
Yes. People who tap into the lines illegally. And we find out about it usually because we see a leak somewhere and we go, what's this coming from? And we trace it and go to somebody's property and we find somebody's got their water running.
So obviously that's a crime here. Are you able to capture any of that lost revenue when somebody is prosecuted?
Well, Ray, there was a case way back when the CCU first started, Simon. There was a hotel in Tumon that ended up paying $1 million because they had done something that they weren't supposed to do.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I'll dig that out.
That's a lot of water.
And then the other one is leaky lines. Now you've got kind of a leak buster, leak detector crew out there, right?
Yes, and we're going to do more of that. But you know, it's we've got so much to do, and that's why GPA's personnel is decreasing, but GWA's personnel is increasing. We got a lot of work to do.
Okay. Well, I give you a leak that you can look at right now, or have somebody go look at it. It's at the top of channel 10. You know, just before you right when you make that turn up to the transmitter sites.
Right.
There's this gigantic house-sized tank, and it is constantly leaking water when I go up there.
Okay.
And so maybe you can go and have somebody take a look at that.
Somebody about it. Okay.
And if you see a problem, call the guys over at GWA, and they'll work on sending somebody out there to close that. You don't sound very excited about losing revenue on 60% of the water that comes out of GWA, though. I mean, is there a dollar amount attached to that?
Yes, the dollar amount is about $4 million a year.
Ouch. Okay, and so
Because
that's offset by the ratepayers, isn't it?
Yeah, it's part of the ratepayer base. All utilities put this in their rate base. It's about $4 million. It's basically the cost of energy, pumping up the water, moving it around. So when you leak, the water doesn't go, it's not wasted. It goes back into the ground, and we pump it back up. So what you're losing in cost is not half of our budget. It's not being lost. It's this $4 million in power.
Okay.
Okay.
So if we get better at this, then it's a cost that the ratepayers won't have to absorb. Can you pass that along to us instead of a 4% increase?
Well, what happens is we take that money and put more of that money back in the system so people can get better pressure. So we can replace these fire hydrants that you see around the road. Some are lying down on the ground. Okay. Because the government of Guam is supposed to pay for us to buy fire hydrants and stuff. They don't. So guess what? We, the people, the ratepayers, are now putting fire hydrants in. You've seen some of them. There's some new shiny yellow fire hydrants that we've put in, and we continue to replace these.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'll be on the lookout for it. I just, as I said, the audit comes out and says we've got some water, and it's a big percentage. 59% of water produced annually is not consumed,
but it's not a really big number. It's a big number, but it's not. I don't want people to think, oh, they're losing hundreds of millions of dollars. No, we're losing $4 million, and we shouldn't be losing that money. And the idea is we're going to work on it.
Okay.
But it's going to take us some time.
All right. Well, if you can, get back to me and see what Miguel will say about the percentage of failed meters, because there should be. It's one of those things. I always thought you just you put it up in front of the house, and we got meters, and for the most part they will work. And I don't recall. I remember earlier on there were some problems with the radio read meters, but the majority of them were replaced or repaired. Right.
Right. And, let me give you the quote that I like the best. I heard this one guy in the mainland said he's in the 15th year of this 5-year meter replacement program. That's what he said. This is something that faces all water utilities. This is a big struggle, getting those water meters to work. He said, I'm in the 15th year of my 5-year meter replacement program.
And just because I'm curious, if I've got a water meter that is all of a sudden reporting some strange numbers, maybe too low, maybe too high, there's somebody I can call in and they can come in and do an audit, right?
Yes.
All right. Well,
the trouble number, and they will respond.
I got you. Well, it's about time for them to bring your wheat bread and your breakfast to you. Tell Bill, Uncle Bill, we say hello.
Okay.
All right. There it is. Joy doing, like I said, not very excited about it. $4 million or so worth of unaccounted for, and based on this audit from the public auditor that highlights historically one of GWA's most challenging problems is the amount of unaccounted for non-revenue water. In 2017, approximately 59% of water produced annually is not consumed or contributing to GWA's revenue due to water loss and unauthorized or unbilled consumption. Leaks, for the most part, account for the largest source of unaccounted for water. GWA has engaged in a water loss prevention program that includes leak detection to help reduce that non-revenue water. Leakage is a problem, and a problem to the tune of about $4 million. They want to be able to reduce that burden on the system, and then with the savings that they would get, or the revenue that they would be able to generate, then they'll start making improvements improvements to the system. So we'll watch and see how they're able to do that. But delighted. Sometimes that's what happens in the course of doing a morning show. You catch somebody while they're off having a breakfast somewhere, and thankfully it was at one of our sponsors. That's nice. I almost want to do the ad for Kings. You know, it's 40 years they've been serving Joey Duenas and Bill Hagan breakfast, right? So there's the deal. Quick look at what's happening on the roadways. I told you things were going to get thick over at the intersection of GRMC and Marine Corps Drive, and it looks like I'm right. Traffic coming out of NAS through that intersection is going to be a little bit heavy for you. So there we. Now you don't need to do the music thing on that. That was just kind of a glance because I knew it was going to end up happening. Now, there's a bunch of other items in the table of contents that we get to go through, and I'm still enamored with this story here about the municipal Wi-Fi service. I was talking about it last hour. And a couple of folks chimed in, one in particular who said, oh, we have that in the state where I live. It was Santa Clara, right? Is that where it was? Where she was talking about? Hold on, I'm going to scroll down and see if I can get my hands in it. No, I can't find it. I'm sorry. There it is. Lillian was writing it. And Lillian said, yeah, we have that at our place. And I said, oh, that's interesting. Is it free? And the answer is no. Somebody got to pay for it. There's no such thing as a free lunch. And one of the things that's going to happen here is you do have an opportunity when you've got this free Wi-Fi service, as is done in some places, where you got to put up with some advertising in order to avail yourself of that service. You know, as a guy in the advertising game, I'll tell you, there's really nothing wrong with it. Usually it's a minor intrusion into the process. Here, look at this for 10 seconds while your website loads. And it might be the only time you see something like that. The other part of it is, and I thought, well, this is an interesting way to look at it as well, is if it is a provided for free service, then what you can do is use that same kind of Facebook model where we know how many people are on the service. We know what their use habits are. We know what they're using that free internet for. Whether it's for uploading video or downloading video or web surfing or WhatsApp-style text communications, et cetera, you'll always be able to chime in and to dig into that deep well of data. And then that becomes something that you sell to the advertisers. We have X many people watching the program on Facebook Live right now, and they represent this demographic: strong adults, strong female adults, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm basically parroting the information that I get from Facebook on a daily basis. You know, I can see who's online. I can see who's watching the program on Facebook Live this morning. And at the end of the day, I can go back and peruse data based on that. And it's information that I can take to our advertisers and say, if you want to reach people like Ed Untalan, then you want to advertise here. If you want to reach people like Mo Cotton, and you want to advertise here. If you want to reach people like Mark Mendiola, Jeff Pleadwell, Joe Cruz, et cetera, then you're going to want to advertise here because they are watching the program. They are listening live. So that's one of the models. And then, of course, there's the other one, which is if we want free Wi-Fi or what is called free Wi-Fi, somebody's going to have to pay for it. And in Santa Clara, as Lillian was saying, in Santa Clara, it's the city pays for it. Okay, so when you hear something like the city pays for the internet, what they're really saying is the taxpayers are paying for the internet. Yeah. So if we're going to be talking about rolling out this service, and I think this is still something that needs to get vetted in the public hearings and in the rest of the conversation, is what is the model that is going to support this? I'm not going to decry the access to the internet for people. I think that people will use it for the most part for good and not evil. Anybody that spends a lot of time at online forums knows that the opposite is true. People will use the internet for bullying and hate if they think they've got that cloak of invisibility around them. But yeah, you want to help out with rapid response, first responders, education for the kids. Yeah, it might be interesting, but is that something that the community is going to be willing to pay additional for in the form of taxes?
Yeah, you can just see the kids gathered around the tables at the at the area bus stops doing their homework on their smartphones because they have free Wi-Fi.
Yeah, well, yeah. As I said, grab the phone from the kid right now. Find out what it is that they're watching and or looking at or actively involved in on the internet. And who knows, it might surprise you. GVB working on talking and tackling some of this social media stuff. It sounds a little bit like it's their first foray, but not really. The Guam Visitors Bureau, over the course of the last bunch of years, in fact, I met one of these guys once a few years ago, brought out somebody, I want to say it's an influencer of influencers, one of these guys that pours through internet data looking for people. And there's some here on Guam that I want to say are media influencers. Somebody that will show up. I was talking about John Fernandez using Twitter, right? So you can say that John Fernandez is an influencer just based on the sheer number of people that follow him. And it's not so much a question of following as much as it is the number of people that will react based on what John does. Now, I don't consider myself an influencer, but I will say sometimes it surprised me if I'm sitting at the beach and I take a picture of my legs and the water with no comment whatsoever and still get 200 likes and 50 different comments from people based on that. So it's those kinds of folks that GVB is looking for in our destination markets so that they might be able to positively influence somebody calling the travel agent and buying tickets to come to Guam to do some shopping and take pictures of their kneecaps at the beach with the ocean in the background.
Yeah, if you have more than 10 likes, you're an influencer, by the way.
I think that maybe that's the way that works out. We're closing in on 8 o'clock in the morning. This is the Ray Gibson Show on The Point, KUSG Hagutnya. Coming up in less than 60 seconds, we'll find out what's happening around the nation and the world, and the love affair apparently with the guy from France. What's his name, Bertrand? Was the guy from France? He's just was speaking to Congress just a little bit, and they tell me there's multiple standing ovations. Yeah, and an opportunity for Melania Trump to dress up. Have you seen what she's wearing? There's a video floating around on the internet where she is standing next to her husband Donald Trump, and they must have gotten in a fight over something because he's trying to hold her hand, and she's doing the "not right now" thing, honey. Barely, just like slightly brushing it away. Watch out for the internet on that. As I said, we're KUSG Hagutnya. The Fox News Live is coming up in 5 seconds.
A break in a decades-old serial killer case. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. A DNA match leading to the arrest of 72-year-old Joseph James D'Angelo. Police say he's the Golden State Killer, also known as the original Night Stalker and the East Area Rapist.
We developed a plan to wait for him to come out of his residence rather than try and approach him in the residence or when he's out and about in a vehicle. And so when he came out of his residence, we had a team in place that was able to take him into custody.
Sacramento Sheriff Scott Jones D'Angelo, a former cop, is charged with 2 counts of murder in Ventura County, California. The Golden State Killer terrorized people in Northern California in the 70s and 80s, usually attacking women while they were home alone or with young children. He's being held at the Sacramento County Jail and is reportedly on suicide watch. Jury deliberations in the Bill Cosby sexual assault retrial continue. Fox's Colonel Scott has more live from the courthouse in Norristown, Pennsylvania.
Lisa, court reconvened just about a half hour ago for the jury's 3rd question of the day, and on an unusually inquisitive day of deliberation. Now, this new query comes after the panel sought a legal definition for consent and a refresher on a sworn statement from a key defense witness, Margot Jackson. So many questions from the jury on this first day of their discussion could mean they're far apart on Cosby's guilt or innocence. It also seems to indicate that there is much more talking for these 7 men and 5 women to do before reaching any kind of consensus, Lisa.
Grinnell, President Trump's pick for VA secretary continues to fight back. Dr. Ronnie Jackson's been accused of unprofessional behavior as a White House physician. He's been accused of wrecking a car, which he denies, saying he doesn't know where those allegations are coming from, and they should be easy to disprove. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Hafaday, my name is James Moylan, and I'm running for a seat as your senator. The people of Guam expect more from their leaders, and I intend on delivering. If given the opportunity, I will bring my experiences in the military, public, and private sectors. I understand that during challenging times, tough decisions and an open mind are needed. Your tax dollars also need to be spent wisely. If you expect more from your elected officials and expect them to think outside of the box, then I humbly ask for your support this November. Thank you.
Paid for by the committee to elect James Camacho Moylan for Senator, Carlos Camacho, Treasurer.
Are you a veteran or on active duty looking for a home loan and VA eligible? Then Bank Pacific stores are open to you, where we are a VA approved preferred lender. That simply means we can give you faster credit approvals and loan closing. And with today's super low rates, you just can't go wrong. Bank Pacific's My VA Loan, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, credit conditions apply. Viva Bank Pacific.
An update on the health of former President George H.W. Bush. He's been moved out of ICU and into a regular room. The 93-year-old had been admitted to a Houston hospital Sunday with a blood infection just after the funeral of his wife, Barbara. President Trump's executive order barring people from several Muslim-majority countries from entering the U.S. is now in the hands of the Supreme Court.
The attorney for the challengers of the travel ban, Neil Katyal, argued the executive order oversteps Congress. And unlike steps taken by previous administrations, this one, he argues, is far more broad.
There's nothing in the order that ends it. And you heard my friend say, oh, that would doom all executive orders. But that's not true.
But Justice Anthony Kennedy, a potential swing vote on the court, says he reads our regular review process.
That indicates there'll be a reassessment.
Well,
and the president has continuing discretion.
Justices also spent time examining comments made by President Trump before the election about Muslim immigration. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The White House saying they're pleased with the actions of North Korea in the weeks leading up to the planned summit between the president and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un.
We think that the maximum pressure campaign is working, but again, we're not going to let up on that campaign until we see some of the words that they've made go into concrete action, but they're moving in the right direction.
White House spokeswoman Sarah Sanders, the two leaders are expected to meet next month. A lawyer for the estate of Harper Lee trying to stop a lawsuit filed by a producer who has plans to stage a Broadway production of To Kill a Mockingbird. Tanya Carter filed a lawsuit last month that contends Aaron Sorkin's script alters characters in Lee's book, counter to a contract with the estate. Last week, she asked a federal court in Alabama to block a suit filed by producer Scott Rudin's company. They're seeking $10 million from Lee's estate and are threatening to cancel the play. Carter contends the company's lawsuit concerns the same issues covered by her suit and should be blocked. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Rain. It's nature's way of cleansing the earth. Yet by the time that rainwater makes its way to your home, it may not be exactly the same as nature created it. A Connecticut water treatment system can improve the quality of the water you and your family drink and use throughout your home, so you can be sure your water is clear, clean, and fresh, just as nature intended it to be. Connecticut, for refreshing ideas on water.
American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. Call American Water Tech, 649-2301, or email info@americanwatertech.com.
In this divided world, there are still a few things that unite us. The thrill of an exciting championship game.
Fires to the end zone. Touchdown!
The sound of great music.
The Grammy goes to...
And the love we have for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam presents to you For the Love of Burgers menu. For a limited time, we want you to put down that fork, tuck that napkin in your collar, and go for broke with an amazing burger for just $11.99. 8 burgers to try, and time is a-wasting. Ruby Tuesday Guam lunchtime. See you soon.
Do you suffer from eye strain? If you work at a computer, follow the 20-20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, look 20 feet away for 20 seconds to reduce eye fatigue. Ensure you have the optimal prescription for your contact lenses and glasses. Early stages of common eye diseases typically have no symptoms and can only be detected with a comprehensive dilated eye exam. Call Lombard Health today to book an appointment at 989-4747. Guam's best eye care. one patient at a time.
Don't wait another day and waste another dollar. You can start saving today. At Guahan Insurance Services, we are here to help protect your investment and save you money. We offer insurance advising for business, car, and home insurance. So come and visit us at our new office at Camacho Landmark Center at Marine Corps Drive in Timoning, and let us show you that you can count on us for all your insurance needs. Call 475-1162.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 8 a.m. this Thursday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. A former school aide at a Jigo Elementary School has been arrested after admitting to sexually abusing an 8-year-old girl at the school and harassing another 7-year-old child. 31-year-old Sean David Cruz charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct, including a special allegation involving a vulnerable victim. Police responded to the complaint at the unnamed Jigo school Monday, where they spoke with the two girls and then arrested Cruz. Guam Department of Education spokesperson Issa Baza said Cruz is no longer an employee of Guam DOE. Chief District Court Judge Francis Tydenko Gatewood has dismissed the $7 million lawsuit against the Board of Education and 5 former and 1 current member of that board. Fernandez filed the lawsuit in October 2016, arguing the board had terminated his contract without due process following an unfounded allegation of sexual improprieties. Last month, Judge Gatewood granted a request to expunge the record of a 2016 report on those allegations, which were made by a former student and cited by the former board in its decision to terminate Fernandez's contract. The controversy led to the resignation of most of those board members, and early last year, the board, under new leadership, reinstated Fernandez and voided the report. Fernandez has been awarded $60,000 in legal fees from Guam DOE. We'll have more news after this.
For over 55 years, Community First has served our island as a full-service financial institution. And now, we're proud to introduce the new Community First Student-Run Credit Union, open in Mangilao on Route 10. Guam's first student-run financial institution, which means it's operated by college students like us, ready to serve all our members, existing and new. We're just down the road from UOG and GCC. Community First Guam Federal Credit Union, now open in Mangilao. This credit union is federally insured by NCUA.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
10 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. Senator Dennis Rodriguez would like the Guam Economic Development Authority to explore the possibility of providing island-wide internet service at no or very low cost. A bill introduced by the senator would direct GITA, in collaboration with the Guam Office of Technology, to issue a request for information to find out if there are any for-profit or non-profit entities that might want to partner with the government of Guam to provide universal internet access to the entire island. The senator, who is a candidate for governor, said that the island-wide Wi-Fi would improve our education both in schools and online, enhance our emergency response system, and drive economic growth. Bill 276 is only asking for expressions of interest and information, not bids at this point. The bill states that the goal is to use that information to develop a budget request, which would lead to a more formal proposal. In a sign of the times, the Guam Visitors Bureau has added social media to its marketing strategies. GVB President Nate DeKnight yesterday telling the Guam Chamber of Commerce that the Visitors Bureau is working with social media facilitator Beautiful Destinations in order to develop content about Guam. It's part of GVB's Insta Guam campaign, which was launched earlier this year. The campaign focusing on a few major East Asian cities and promoting Guam as an instant destination. One part of the promotion encourages Guam residents and visitors to create their own story-driven content on social media. DeKnight also telling the Chamber yesterday that GVB has partnered with AKB48, a Japanese pop group that has signed on as an official Instagrammer, promoting Guam on Instagram. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Here's Ray with some weather.
All right, thank you very much. Let me look at this. Partly sunny today with isolated showers. There's thunderstorms this morning, scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms this evening and overnight. East winds 10 to 20 miles an hour. Daytime highs today should be about 87 degrees and overnight lows up around 77. As I'm looking at this, take a quick look at the map here so that my friend Michael Knight will be able to tell you which particular blob it is that is bringing the thunderstorms and the showers to us.
Yeah, that blob to the east right there. Now, if you look at the, lower left center, you see Guam there. And we're just outside of the scope of this thing. But this whole mass of stuff, and even
Stuff,
more
he called
so,
it.
yeah, it calls stuff. Yeah, why not? And actually, if you can track down to the right, you can see another even more nasty-looking a bunch of stuff that's down there to the far right corner down at the bottom. That's actually going to kind of track up and through here. Tomorrow is supposed to be actually a very rainy day, but it should clear out for the weekend.
All right. Well, that's the important thing, as long as, because I got to get some beach time in. It's 8:12 in the morning, and that is what we're looking at when we're looking at weather and news here on The Point.
GTA's best internet deal has arrived. With fiber internet, you get up to 50 megabits of data per second for only $50 per month. And if that's not enough, Fiber Internet 50 plan includes free Wi-Fi. But this offer will only last through the month of April. So sign up today and get ready for faster downloads, more streaming, a better gaming experience, and a stable connection across multiple devices. Conditions may apply. Visit gta.net for more details. GTA, your island, your network.
Portions of the program brought to you by King's Restaurant with the rousing endorsement of Joey Duenas, who is having breakfast there with Bill Hagan as we speak. Don't know which one. There are a couple of places where you can go. King's Restaurant, serving Guam favorites to families like Joey's and Bill's for over 40 years. King's Restaurant, always open, always bacon, and always local.
Are you waiting too long for a home loan decision? Are you looking for a bank that understands your needs and can close your loan quickly at today's super low rates? Then come no further than Bank Pacific. Our home loan specialists are friends and neighbors from your community, and our decisions are made right here in Hagåtña. Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, credit conditions apply. Viva Bank Pacific.
Gotcha. Let me see here. Portions of the program also brought to you by Security Title, when you absolutely need confidentiality in your real estate transaction.
Relax, enjoy, and be greeted by the spectacular view of Hagåtña Bay when you visit the Point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam. Gaze into the beautiful sunset as you unwind to the music of Philip Garcia and Natasha on Wednesdays, Mama Shar and Nina on Thursdays, Philip Garcia and Luis Muñoz on Fridays, and Jack Larimer on Saturdays. Open daily from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Happy hour from 5 to 8 p.m. with all cocktail drinks for $7. Receive a discount when you present your SPG card. Call Peter Yaban at 646-2222 for reservations at the Point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam Resort.
The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
We need the sports. We'll get into that here in just a second. And if you're wondering why the constant drops of the word bacon, we're trying to start a new thing here on the program where we use bacon as a verb. You know, so like you go to Wendy's and they get this new Swiss thing. Not Swiss, the spicy chicken sandwich there with the avocado, and they bacon it.
Well, they put bacon on it.
They put bacon on it, right?
They bacon it.
But
they
bacon
it.
Yeah. Because they bacon sandwiches over at so I'm trying to figure out how we can use the word bacon as a verb more often. You remember when Google was a website? Now it's a verb, right? We're going to Google this, right? So that's what I'm shooting for here today as I move through the course of the morning show. One of the things that we've got to move through right now is sports with Blake. So you remember, was it yesterday I was asking about whether we've got track and field season or track season that's starting. You know what? It also occurred to me that the people that I saw walking around and running in Tucumán the other night.
Oh, in their jerseys.
Yeah. But
their marked jerseys.
It occurred to me that they might not be from either one. It might be like a paddling team.
Oh, yes.
Because there's a lot of that going on. You know, when I did the chiropractor thing the other day, they're in, I forget the name of the building, but there's in the backyard behind the taxi company that has been there since I was a little boy, there's a bunch of boats that, paddling canoes. And I guess that's one of the places where they stage it. And I was looking at these kids in the canoe and thinking, I don't recognize them. None of them are in my age or age group. And as it turns out, they were high school kids.
Yeah, and it probably is. They do, the paddlers I know, they even do some weight training. I mean, obviously you won't see them do that on the streets of Tucumán.
Right. So that's what I was thinking. Maybe
yeah.
there's a little bit of cross training. We're going in there and, there's a lot to paddling, and a significant part of it is being able to do something stressful for a long time, a relatively long time. And so you need to build up your endurance, you need to build up your stamina, and I think that running is a good way to do that. And certainly a great cardio exercise.
Especially down there, because I've actually seen some paddling teams maybe like run the length of Tucumán on the beach and then run back on the street. Like kind of get off the, kind of run down there and just to have a little bit different terrain,
Right.
So they'll run the beach, the length of Tucumán, and then they'll jump up on the street and run back to, where they started from, back the way they came on the road.
It makes sense if you're running a lighter team on your canoe, that's less weight to have to push through the water. So, maybe everybody, it's nice that you got a big dog in it, you can stay in the chair, but we need it to be a little bit smaller so that we can go faster against some of these other teams.
I can't do so much baconing. I like to just sit there and bacon my beer while I watch them.
Exactly. I don't know if we're allowed to have beer when we're watching high school kids do their paddling. You'd probably have to put it in a koozie or something.
Styrofoam cup.
Yeah.
The sippy cup.
What's my buds up here?
The question I've always asked since I started covering sports directly is that why don't more of our athletes go to like the Ivy League schools for like rowing? For like out for crew. Why don't some of these Pacific Islander paddlers? Look into like maybe going to a school for crew. I mean, I know it's not exactly paddling.
Aren't most of those guys in that like upper crust? Don't you have to like Yale and Harvard?
No, I mean that's what it's thought of. But I mean, it's kind of like lacrosse. I mean, there are some other just run of the mill
like Snooty,
colleges. Yeah,
bratty.
Yeah, I'm sure Penn State has a crew.
I'm thinking of. All right.
The Ohio State University.
Is there a score? Did anybody score any points in any games?
You know what? Actually, no.
Oh.
The St. John's Lady Knights and the Guam High Lady Panthers battled to a scoreless draw, Ray, 0-0 in their game in the Double High Double AG High School Girls Soccer League. That happened,
I thought he was
Tuesday.
just kidding.
No, so did I. I was just trying to push the program along here. I didn't realize that was going to be the answer. No, they played a game and nobody scored.
And nobody won, yeah. So now they will both run. Let's see where my where'd it go? I lost it. Oh, here we go. So they will both run 3-3-1 are the St. John Lady Knights, and the Guam High Lady Panthers are 1-4-2. So this is their second draw.
So in the next sports story, you have to use bacon as a verb.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hoping to bring home the bacon is the Guam men's national 3-on-3 basketball team, as they just landed in Shenzhen, China.
Nice.
Just ahead of the FIBA 3-on-3 Asia Cup Championships. Leading the team is standout Darren Henchova. He is a 6'3" guard attacking the rim, considered one of the best defenders in the region. He's only 24. He will be joined by.
To make it sound like he could grow some more. He's only 24. He's already. How tall is he?
He's 6'3".
More bacon.
Yes, and he's built an impressive 3-on-3 resume over the last 2 years. He represented Guam at the East Asian Indoor Games in Turkmenistan, and then back in 2016, he sparked the Guam team to gold in Australia. If you remember when the team, along with Darren and Sevi and I believe Willie Stinnett, brought home the gold from the Oceania Championship. So those three, along with Jonathan Galloway, right? No, Irvin Jose, Jonathan Galloway, and Darren Henchova, the 3-on-3 Asian Cup Championship Guam's roster.
And so when you ended the sportscast yesterday, you were talking about GML and the actual and a start date for them. What was that start date?
The 8th, May 8th, I believe, May 7th.
They changed it. They've changed it. They've pushed it back. There's something else that's going to be taking place at the Paseo Stadium, and so they pushed it back. The Guam Micronesia Island Fair is going to be not using the stadium, but they're going to be using the parking lot over at the Paseo, and they're worried that if there's no place for people to park adjacent to the stadium, then there won't be anybody able to go and watch the games because the other parking space now has the FestPac huts on them.
Right. Yes, the other space we paved over it with huts, which we still use, and I assume that they're going to use for that event, that Micronesian Island Fair, which I guess. This has nothing to do with sports or anything, but I guess it's moved.
Well, because it's pushing back the start of the GML.
I mean,
it does have something to do with sports.
I mean the fair. Like the fair used to be at EPAL, right? I guess they're moving it up to Agana this year.
What's wrong with EPAL?
I don't know. I'm just saying because I love the Micronesian Island Fair. I like going down there. It's always a good time, and it seems like I don't know if I've ever. Maybe I have, but I don't remember ever going to it at Chamorro Village, which I believe is where it's going to be this year.
So with the new start date, and they just announced, as you pointed out yesterday, they just announced it was going to be on the 8th, and then they looked at somebody else's calendar and said, oops, maybe not. So May the 11th now is on track for the league's new opening night, which gives the governor another 3 or 4 days to fulfill his promise of making the entire Paseo Stadium area as good as new. No more issues with the Paseo Stadium and spalling concrete.
Because it always seems that baseball fields on island are so precious. You know what I mean? And having to get time on them are always so precious. So I wonder where all the GML teams are practicing in lieu of Paseo, being fixed.
I don't know.
All that.
And there's a bunch.
They are.
All 6 teams from the last season have confirmed their participation.
Yep.
The Orioles and Astros. There's also the IT&E Rays. I love that name. I love, Logan, that name. I'll wear the shirt on the camera, on the TV, if you get me a IT&E Rays shirt. The Smokies, the Junior Nationals, the 76 Expos, and 4 new teams, the Rooks from Mongmong Totomaiti, Sumai Chiefs, the Dzotnia Redhawks, and it just says the Giants.
They're usually from Sinahanya, so I don't know. I mean, you're right.
The Dzotnia Redhawks are not from Sinahanya.
No, the Giants.
Do you think the Giants are from Sinahanya?
I think they are. It doesn't say it here because I'm reading the same thing you are. But yes, they are. I seem to think that the Giants hail from Sinahanya.
So there's going to be springtime baseball over at the Paseo Stadium with the GML. Too early to start talking about who might be the winners of that GML playoffs, and we'll see if we can get some time with Mark Colby in the next couple of days to talk about what his plans are for annotating and calling those games.
Yeah, it's going to be. I love baseball. I love it. I know some people yawn their way through it, but I do. I love baseball.
No, I just look. It's another opportunity to go someplace and drink beer with your buddies.
That's true,
right?
That's true.
And I think the stadium is not an alcohol-free zone.
No,
although there are parts of Paseo that are, thank goodness, but I don't know that anybody actually goes down there and tells people to stop drinking their beer at 3 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, 8:24. You got anything else going on?
I'm good for today.
Nothing fun out there.
Nothing fun.
Now you would ask me the question, and I don't know. Because when I bought the Ridgeline,
right.
it was going to come
Truck of the year, by the way.
Thank you. It was going to come with tint. It actually had the tint package in it, and they did not have it tinted by the time I got the car, so they gave me a check for it.
Okay.
And so I blew that money on Slim Jims and six packs a long time ago. So I don't have tint.
Dill pickles.
Yeah, I don't have any bacon. I don't have any tint in the front part of the car,
right?
Which is odd for me because I've always had tint in the cars. So every once in a while, I'll catch myself digging for nose gold, and then have to remember that the cute girl in the car next to me can see
she's
me.
Watching.
She can see what I'm doing.
Not like she's been watching.
Yeah, right.
She didn't just glance. She's been watching.
Well, I'm like, because she doesn't have tint either. I can, there's ogling going on. But anyway, so that's my point is I don't know. I did go next door to Pat's.
Yeah.
And talk to them. And I think they said for the 2 windows and whatever the legal strip is in the front.
That eyebrow.
It was about $75. I think was what they were talking about for that. Yeah. So
I got to get mine. Like
terrible.
$40, $45 a window, maybe something like that.
And they said, it was base legal and everything. So I thought, all right. So that's kind of my benchmark. But again, it was only the 2 windows and the strip in the front. So you're talking about your truck, right?
My truck. No, I've got just like you. I just need the 2 front and the eyebrow in the front, the 2 front windows and then the eyebrow across the windshield. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and darken the whole thing.
Yeah,
you can kind of see in the back.
Have you thought about spray paint?
I have. I took that to my rims first, and I plasti dipped my rims.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. The question is out there. We've got an army of people on Facebook Live, and maybe one of them will chime in with where they have done it.
And
now,
I'm not doing it myself. Just to all you jokesters out there.
No, that was the next question I was going to ask you.
I can't. Have you ever seen that I Love Lucy episode where they try to wallpaper Fred and Ethel's apartment?
Yeah.
That's exactly how I would be trying to. I mean, I like things like knots or tying things or like little intricate finger, like skills, like I said, knot tying or untangling headphones or like
threading needles
or like
just not your thing.
I just can't. My mind doesn't work that way. I'm more witty with the vocals than I am with the skill.
Or our fine motor skills are developed so that our tongue and our teeth and our lips are moving in some kind of
those are my weapons of
correct
choice.
Sequence. Yeah. So I know exactly what you mean. I want to see what's going on. Maybe somebody's chiming in with.
I do
a
have
thought.
this. I wanted to throw this out there to you really quickly, just because this is crazy.
Sure.
Des Bryant reportedly turned down a multi-year deal from the Ravens. Just meaning he turned probably down like $20-something million for 3 years, just because the Cowboys let him go. And speculation is he wants to stick it to them. So the Ravens don't play the Cowboys. He wants to go play a team that will play the Cowboys, and he turned down several millions of dollars in hopes that one of those teams that play the Cowboys multiple times signs them. Yeah, just for revenge. Yeah, so that's just a fun sports quick hit that really only pertains to me.
I'd like to be able to call something like that. Turn down millions of dollars in job opportunities for the sole purpose of putting the screws on.
Just to just to put the screws to his old team that fired him a week ago.
All right, so I'm assuming that what does he want to talk about? Oh, about the Wi-Fi thing? Okay, Joe, come to you in a second. Let me finish up with Blake and sports. Okay, you're done.
I'm done.
Okay, I'll talk to you pretty soon. Blake Watson's going to go and finish up the morning show over on Star 101.1 on the FM dial. If you like new and contemporary music, he is the guy to go to in the morning. If you want news and talk, this is the spot right here on The Point.
When the power goes out on Guam, the little things can become surprisingly big. Small comforts are often the things we miss most during a power outage. That is why Kohler built the fastest responding generator sets in the industry. Whether you are at home or away, a residential Kohler generator will enable you and your family to live life without interruption. Kohler gas, LPG, and diesel power systems are available from Morrico Equipment, LLC on Epal Road. Call 649-1946. That's 649-1946. Don't forget to click on to MorricoEquipment.com.
Is there traffic today? You know what? It turns out that traffic today a lot lighter than I originally anticipated. I figured that the rain would be slowing a lot of people down. Traffic building up in some of the usual spots, but I don't see it causing any major commotions around here. Headed up the hill towards Sinahanya, making your way down Agania Heights and into the capital city. You might see a little bit of a slowdown up there, a little traffic building up, but nothing major, nothing serious to write home about, and certainly no need to make this last any longer than it already has. That's traffic on The Point.
Every time I travel, there's something from home that I can't leave without. I take my Docomo Pacific Data to Go to share my stories in Taiwan, check subway routes in Tokyo, be my food guide in Hong Kong, meet new friends in the Philippines, make updates in the States, find my way around Korea, and check out all the cool shows in Singapore. It's the data I have in all the places I love for only $10 a day. Data to Go from Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Bottom of the hour here on the Ray Gibson Show on The Point, 888-8255. That number is 888-8255. We'll continue the conversation about the concept of municipal Wi-Fi in a couple of minutes. But first, we got to jump into headlines. Last look at headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 31 minutes past 8 a.m. In the headlines from the Daily Post this morning, another 4 senatorial hopefuls have made their intentions official by filing their election packets with the Guam Election Commission. 3 of them are Democrats, Jose Terlahi, Ned Pablo, and Armando Dominguez, Benito Cervino running under the Republican banner. The number of potential candidates for the legislature this year, those that have picked up packets to run, now stands at 59. The Guam Waterworks Authority loses almost 60% of the water it produces, according to an audit report released yesterday by the Office of Public Accountability. The audit states that 59% of water produced annually is not consumed. It is unaccounted for and contributes no revenue to the agency. GWA's aging infrastructure mostly to blame. Waterline leaks are the largest single cause of water loss. CCU Chairman Joey Duenas on The Point this morning, telling host Ray Gibson that the unaccounted for water amounts to a loss of about $4 million in revenue for the Waterworks Authority. A former Guam resident has been arrested in California in connection with a murder in Texas. 26-year-old Joseph Manuel Blas is currently being held in the Orange County Central Jail, awaiting extradition back to Texas. Blas is a former resident of Harker Heights in Bell County, Texas. According to police, he is suspected in the March 10th fatal shooting of Thomas Raymond West. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
I think I'll do that. So what are we talking about here? Is that $4 million out of what's their total operating revenues? About $104 million over at the Guam Waterworks Authority. So a little less than 4% of their potential revenues is in the form of that kind of loss from leakage and from theft and from faulty meters.
It's those old pipes they need to replace. It seems like every other day a pipe breaks.
I think that's right.
But those numbers don't add up. They're saying 60-something% is lost,
right?
Yet it's only 4%.
No, it's $4 million. $4 million of their operating revenues.
Right,
which
you said it's about 4%.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't. What else are they selling?
I think I know what you're saying, but they've got other parts of their operational matrix here that would allow for what I'm thinking in my head is clunky math. I think it has to do with bacon. It's 8:33 in the morning. Thanks, Kevin, for the headlines. Michael Knight's going to push these buttons, and we'll come back with a concept of municipal Wi-Fi. In the meantime, iConnect time is 8:33. iConnect wants you to connect longer for less with their incredible mobile and push-to-talk plans.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
You know, when they first pushed this into the live copybook for the Ray Gibson Show, I thought it was a throwback to Easter, but I checked the dates for Lent. I checked the dates, and it's something brand new again at Wendy's. Fish fans can celebrate the return of their cod fillet sandwich. Wendy's uses wild-caught North Pacific cod, and they bread it with panko breadcrumbs.
Have you had one of those?
Oh, yeah, several.
Oh, man. Oh.
Several. No, I'm most of the time Wendy's. I'm a burger kind of baconator, kind of salad guy. Yeah. But yeah, cod fish sandwich.
It's that thick.
Yeah, and the way they do it, like I said, with the panko breadcrumbs, and they've got a tartar sauce that goes in there, and a pickle. So you get a little bit of extra bite, a little bit of extra. There's a splash of that pickle juice.
And if you ask them,
see, you were salivating too. It's just,
and if you ask them, they'll put bacon on it.
He's probably Wendy's cod fillet. Now that's better.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training every morning on The Ray Gibson Show.
So many people fall short of achieving their goals and dreams. I'm Jerry Roberts, and at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show, we talk about a way that will help you succeed.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point by Jerry Roberts at guamtraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts on The Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point.
Yeah, this is going to be quick because I'm not seeing any major slowdowns, traffic building in the usual locations. And if you are on the road right now and spend a lot of time on the road about 8:30 every day, you know where those locations are. So try to avoid them or wait like 5 minutes and it'll clear up completely. That's right now traffic here on The Point.
Hey, it's your stomach talking. I'm just gonna cut to the chase. Subway has all new signature wraps packed with meat and flavor. And I know flavor. Okay, maybe not as much as the mouth. That's kind of his job. But we talked, and he's a big fan of the Chipotle Southwest Steak and Cheese signature wrap. And it's super filling, so you don't have to hear from me for a few hours. Unless they play this radio spot again. Subway, make it what you want.
All right, this is what's going to happen here. I'm going to go from the concept of municipal Wi-Fi and turn that into a plus on the hospitality side and the tourism business. How am I going to do it? You're just going to have to trust me with a little help from Joe talking about municipal Wi-Fi. What do you think, Joe?
Hey!
I'm right here. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I hear you fine, loud and proud. 5x5, McGoy.
Hey, Brown, you sound good.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying so.
That's just like when you were on Hit Radio 100.
See, now you're showing your age there, Joe.
Man, it sounds good to hear you, but I want to talk about the Wi-Fi.
Let's talk about Wi-Fi. Go ahead.
Man, you know, that's really good that Senator Rodriguez is thinking about the people. When I go to bed at night and I wake up at 3 in the morning, I think about Wi-Fi. Because when I go to the bathroom at Ikemon,
yeah,
if I fall down and they can't hear me, if there's Wi-Fi, I could call 911.
And I cannot tell you the last time I visited the Kemlin and did not bring the Wi-Fi with me. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate you chiming in. There's a bunch of different ways that you can look at the concept of municipal Wi-Fi, and I got enough people on the emails and the chats. I got a guy writes in the premise behind municipal internet is that commercial internet is not affordable to poor families. Municipal internet, broadband, and Wi-Fi programs intended to compete with commercial services. This new bill contains kind of a conundrum. It requires commercial internet companies to bid for it. Well, who's going to pay for it? Because there's no such thing as a free lunch. So if somebody is rolling out a free municipal Wi-Fi service, that means that they're going to be taking it from some place. And will that someplace be from the other people, the other subscribers of that system, or will it be from the taxpayers? The guy sends a couple of links to a bill that was authored by then Senator Ray Tenorio, and a link to a Forbes magazine article, which is solidly against municipal internet services. Now, having said that, because that's one side of the municipal Wi-Fi conversation. There is another one that needs to be considered with, what are we shooting for? 1.25, 1.5 million visitors in the coming year. Many of them might be enticed to come to Guam because of our advanced use and access to the internet. And I'll give you an example. Telegraph.co.uk in their travel column lists a number of places that have rolled out municipal free Wi-Fi and made it available. In fact, one of the best places, they say, the world's most Wi-Fi friendliest city is Taipei in the country of Taiwan. Travelers there can get on for absolutely free. All you got to do is register ahead of your arrival, and you get 30 days of free access to a national government-backed network of over 5,000 hotspots where you can go through, and everything is covered by the generous taxpayers of Taiwan. So, interesting concept. As a marketing tool, what do you think, Nate DeKnight? Is that something that you wouldn't mind having access to in the quiver of tools that you have to attract visitors to Guam?
Yeah, Hafaday Ray. It's something that actually we've been discussing at GVB and
yeah, I know. I tried to sell you my system, but you guys didn't buy it yet.
Yeah, well, like you said, someone has to pay for it, right? So,
yes.
Like in Taiwan, it's offered for the visitors, but they have to register, and then I'm sure the government is funding the bill because if you meet with the carriers and you say, hey, we want to offer free Wi-Fi for the visitors, well, we sell, 100,000 a month on to the visitors for Wi-Fi. Who's going to if they give up that revenue, they have to make it up in another way, right?
Yeah, and that's the part that I'm not sure about. We're talking about Taiwan, Taipei. There's Hong Kong there, and there are a number of services. There's Gov Wi-Fi. I want to say it's called Metro Wi-Fi, and for that one, you go to the hotspots and you can hook up to 5 times every day for about 15 minutes a shot, and then they've got a tourist sim that you can get.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I think the Wi-Fi actually, though, it does present some opportunities for like a visitors bureau or for the destination, in the fact that you could kind of then promote to the like you were doing with the Handy. You can promote through advertising or different initiatives to the visitors, a way to reach them. Also, our whole campaign this year is Instagram.
Right.
So the whole point is to use social media and let the visitors promote your destination. And how do they do that? They do that by going to the big Guam letters in front of the museum, taking a picture, and then sharing that with their hundreds of friends and family back home. But they need Wi-Fi to do that. So
right.
Give them the free Wi-Fi. They're kind of then advocates for you. The other things people have done is doing short surveys. To get the Wi-Fi, you answer these 5 questions, and then we get some data collection out of that. So there's different ways to kind of offset the costs or make it work. But yeah, bottom line though is there will be a cost associated to that bandwidth, right? And someone has to pay for that. So we're actually going through that exercise, trying to see what are the different options, what are the different models, and if it's something that we could do, because it would fit in really nicely with our Instagram.
Right. Well, I mean, maybe it's worth another conversation down the road, but because I know guys in the telecom business, but you could do this with certain kinds of advertiser support. And one of the things that pops into my head is you're talking about these locations, and say we do make the Plaza de España kind of a Wi-Fi hotspot provided free to the tourists, so that they can Instagram, they can send their video and their pictures on that spot. Don't have to wait till they get to the hotel. Just log in while you're there, take the picture, and then send it off right now to family and friends around the planet. So we could make kind of a Wi-Fi hotspot there. But then there's other things that we can do, maybe with augmented reality, and I'm sure that's something that concept that you guys have tossed around over at the Visitors Bureau, with as many places where visitors may find themselves, maybe something in an augmented reality software or app type device that gives them, this is where you are, there's the historical footnotes, there's the nearest bathroom, here's free Wi-Fi, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, so that they've gotten kind of spoon-fed the stories that we want to tell them.
Yeah, Ray, we're having so many more, free independent travelers, or FITs as they're called in the industry. So they're just dispersed and they're going around, and so these tools, especially someone like the Korean market is very tech savvy, and so these tools are really needed nowadays, and we can't just rely on them being guided by an actual tour guide.
Right.
Now they're on their own, driving in a rent-a-car and going somewhere. So yeah, if we could offer those kind of tools and use technology to reach more people in a more innovative way, it's always, I think, the way to go.
Well, you got AJ down there. He can do all that stuff, right? He can knock that out by lunchtime, right?
Yeah. Well, right now he's trying to update our website right now is not responsive, so we're moving to a responsive website. So that's his big project. So we'll have that up and running in all this 7. I think we have to do it in 6 or 7 different languages. So that's a we got him busy working on that right now. But we're definitely looking at the Wi-Fi option and looking at how other destinations do it. It's ultimately going to come down to a matter of cost and if we can afford it.
Yeah, well, who's gonna bear the cost on it? Frankly, the program that you guys are up to that I like the most at the Guam Visitors Bureau is your charter support program, because that's actually helping the travel agents put butts in chairs attached to airplanes that will fly to Guam outside of a regular schedule.
Yeah, Ray, we really shifted a lot of our, especially in Japan, a lot of our budget to actually supporting the airlines and giving more airline support. So the charter support's really helping. We keep talking about the lack of seats. So what can GVB do to directly incentivize more seats? And so that charter support we started last year, and it's really 2 years ago we didn't have this program. We had 20,000 charter seats. Last year we had about 33,000. This year we're looking at almost 64,000. So almost triple the number of seats last year. Of course, that's related to, also there's just not enough seats in the market. And, that's a good sign when you see all these charter seats. It gives airlines confidence that, hey, if the travel agents are coming and buying a plane from me, there's probably opportunity to do a regular service. So we're also, meeting with the airlines to try to get regular service. But that process takes, time. And like I kind of said yesterday at the chamber talk, it's air route development is always you come up to, there's one hurdle, and then you pass that, then there'll be another hurdle. Okay, do they have their airplane? They don't have an airplane. Okay, they got their airplane. Can it fly to Guam with ETOPS? No, they need to get the ETOPS. Okay, well, we got to help them get ETOPS. Do they have the rights from the country to fly to another country? Okay, they don't. Let's try to.
And then we got to do that. Is there ramp space at the airport that they're going to be flying into? Do we need to deploy more people to the gate? So
they can only give us a 3 a.m. Departure from Shanghai. Okay, so that's it's always I've learned a lot about air route development, and it really is a science. Are there other passengers that could connect on that flight that would help fill up and give you a couple more percentage points on the load factor?
But that changes drastically with the changes in the technology of the airplanes. I mean, once upon a time, if you wanted to go across the Pacific, you had to stop on Guam. That was the airplane only went that far. And now they've got these airplanes that fly virtually around the planet in 14, 15 hours that don't need to stop at the airport unless they need to put some more fuel in them.
Yeah, you're right, Ray. With the single engines, the Dreamliner, the 787, they can fly 14, 15 hours. But now we're getting those like the 737s, the narrow bodies, but the long range ones. So those are kind of changing the game. Those used to be able to only go 4, maybe 5 hours max. Now those are going to be able to go like 7 hours, 8 hours. So yeah, it's really changing the game. The world is just becoming more and more connected. So.
We just got to be more competitive, and we got to look for the opportunities to compete against some of those other destinations. They might be a little bit further away, might still be accessible by the airplane, but we've got to make sure that we've got things that say that Guam is a very unique destination with unique attractions, unique excursions, and among the ways that you're talking about doing this, and it's not the first time. I'd read somewhere, and it kind of made it sound like it's the first time we've rolled out the concept of using influencers and social media, but you guys have been doing, at least since you've been there, it seems to me that you guys have been, heavy into the process of finding social media influencers, people that were big in the Japanese version of Facebooks and Twitters and all of the social media that they've got out here, and bringing them out. I mean, remember a couple of years ago, you brought all those shopping bloggers out. Remember?
Yeah, for the Shop Guam, and actually a lot of them have actually even got more famous since they came. I was looking at some of their pages, but yeah, we're constantly bringing influencers. You could always do more and do things better and more targeted. So, we're really making a focus. We're going to be launching we had Beautiful Destinations, the leading content creator for travel and tourism. They have about 15 million followers worldwide. So they're doing a couple of videos. And so the first one will be releasing in May, and then we'll have a series of they're doing like two 1-minute videos and then a couple 30-second videos. So I think people, when you see their first video, I showed it at the chamber yesterday, it's going to be very it's one of those things where you look at the video and you're like, that doesn't even look like Guam.
It's so really it's professional and polished. Wow.
Yeah. So and then just the way they tell the story and the point of view. So I think we're it's interesting. We brought out this magazine called Genic, and I guess it stands for photogenic. It's from Japan, and it's really just catered towards taking better pictures for Instagram and how to influence people on Instagram. And the editor-in-chief came and spoke to our membership, and she showed this pyramid of social media influencers in Japan. And at the top of the pyramid was not Japanese influencers for her. It was foreign or like international influencers, people with a global following, are still more influential in Japan than. Then I think next was sites that collect global influencers and then have a site, and then third was Japanese influencers. So we're going to be doing a mix of both market-specific influencers plus global influencers, which I think will help us as we try to compete on a global level. You never know where people are coming from to visit your destination. Like you said, travel is so much easier. I mean, you can go to Europe easier than you can go to the States. You can be.
Well, I could be in Manila in 3.5 hours and catch a Philippine airline flight to London.
Yeah, and you'd be there in 14 hours. It takes 18 hours to get to the States sometimes. So yeah, I mean the world is just getting a lot smaller with the more connectivity. So I think we have to compete on a global level, and so we're going to be doing a mix of global and market-specific influencers.
So, but back up for a second. I understand the concept of influencers, and people have asked that I share a little bit of the influence that I have in social media with my few followers on Facebook and Twitter and whatever. But with these national, international influencers, maybe a little bit more of a definition of what an influencer is, and then how GVB is able to connect with these influencers.
Yeah, so I mean, in the different markets, we have offices, and they're very heavily PR influenced. So they have to be skilled in the PR range. So they'll go and meet. They have connections, and they'll meet people in their area. So, for example, like from Taiwan for the United Guam Marathon, we brought in this. She's more of a fashion blogger, but she also runs, and she has about 500,000 followers, is sponsored by Gucci and all these other brands.
Yeah.
So she came out and, for example, and then a couple months ago we brought an influencer from the Philippines. I guess it's a cosplay and that kind of scene. But like right when she got off the plane at the airport, people recognized her and wanted to, everywhere she went, people were taking pictures with her. Oh, I'm sorry, she came for the Shop Guam.
Okay, but somebody that is completely not necessarily involved in the hospitality industry, doesn't care much about hotels, but somebody that has got a number of people that follow them, and in an adventure trip to Guam to run the marathon or whatever, or go shopping here, or hang out with cosplayers here, will provide enough content that they will post up on their sites and hopefully entice people to share that experience.
You're exactly right. So it depends on if we're doing something for the Shop Guam Festival. We'll bring more shopping, fashion influencers. If it's for the United Guam Marathon, we work with PIC. We brought the Mighty Group, those girls, right? Those fitness girls that joined the marathon this year.
Yeah. Somebody referred to them as bodybuilders, and I kept looking at them going, women are skinny as a rail here. They're very attractive, but I don't know about bodybuilding. I was expecting, bulging muscles. But didn't quite.
Fitness models.
Yeah, fitness models is what they were, and a lot of attention was paid on them. So again, now how do you get a hold of these people? Let's say, for instance, somebody wanted to do something with fitness models. I mean, how do you find out who the big influencers are, and then get them on a plane out to Guam to do whatever it is that take the pictures or go on tours or eat at restaurants? How do you get them to do all that?
Yeah, so in the markets we work with, our offices are supposed to, be PR experts, so we work with them a lot of times. But then other times it kind of just happens where, for example, I would say like Vanessa Williams, came to Guam and she's doing the concert, and the fine folks at Staywell were so happy to work with us, and they're like, while she's here, she's going to be enjoying Guam, and so that's an influencer. So we sent a photographer and videographer to just follow her around, and we post those on social media. She was posting on her own social media. We met with Tony Anderson. I guess he's with the Show You Roll guys.
Yeah.
And they were talking about, because of their jiu-jitsu network, and people like Anthony Bourdain and all these celebrities are into jiu-jitsu or famous jiu-jitsu players that they know are wanting to come to Guam. So they could have an opportunity to reach out to those folks. So it comes in different ways.
Right. So it's not like there's like an agency, an influencer agency, somebody that you can pick up the phone and call, and like what we used to do with comedians and musicians. You call 2 or 3 agencies and say, I got a guy that does this. So if as an example, in the skateboarding community, if we were able to score Tony Hawk, that would be a massive influencer for Guam among the gazillions of skaters in the world.
Yeah, I guess you're right. So I mean, we find them in different ways. So one of the things we're going to be doing in Japan is this, because Genic magazine is really just focused on influencers, and they bring in influencers for their magazine. So they're also helping us reach out to some of their, they'll give us a suggested list of people that they would recommend to come. From some might be from Australia, might be from Germany, from the U.S., but they're a Japanese magazine, so it comes in different ways, and we just have to evaluate what are we trying to do? What is their following? It's not always number of followers. It's also, the engagement they have with their followers.
Yeah. Well, quality obviously over quantity. So I guess make the offer on the air is if you are lined up in a particular industry, avocation, hobby. I mean, knitting, for heaven's sakes. There's podcasts that have thousands and thousands of followers that are devoted to knitting or baking pies or something like that. And if you've got something that is happening in your kind of community, call Nate over at Visitors Bureau, and maybe there's a connection that they might be able to make with between that and hospitality. You never know.
Yeah, Ray, and then locally we just partnered up with the Rio Oshiro. He's a local guy that it's funny, he's coming back home and he's been making travel videos in the style of beautiful destinations, he said.
Yeah.
And we said, okay, that's cool. We'll help you a little bit. And then I guess Triple J also helped them. So they have a spot on the air that he did. I think it's also in the movies. And then he's coming out he did something for us that we'll be releasing soon. So yeah, it's not just.
I think I'm running that in the background on the visual radio that we do Star. But somebody turned me on to videos like that, and I absolutely love them. It's great B-roll that we can run in the back, and thousands of people that see it on the star101.gu website. Hey, listen, I know how busy you are. Appreciate your time. I'm going to let you run and go get the websites back up in 7 different languages.
Oh yeah, we got it. We're working on it. Right?
All right, buddy. I see.
Also, we got GMIF coming out next the following week. So we have our press conference in a few hours. So if you want to come down, Ray, and check it out, let us know.
Will there be beer?
Of course, there will. Very nice. Heineken Beer Garden right next to the stage with the cold one waiting right for you. So
you never know. I might could do that. I'll
down there.
Will there be bacon? Is the question. Yeah. What's that, Mike?
I just want to know if there's going to be bacon.
Yeah, so we'll see what we can do. I'll talk to you pretty soon, Nate. Have a fantastic morning. We're closing in on 9 o'clock in the morning, and I did kind of want to punch through that conversation because it seemed to mix in well with the other one on the municipal Wi-Fi concept. And as I say, there are already Wi-Fi hotspots on Guam. If you are a Docomo customer, if you're at a shopping center somewhere, there's probably a system that you can, as an existing customer of Docomo, if you've got it at the house, then you should be able to get it where those hotspots are. And so that's what they're talking about. Is that it's not going to be available everywhere. It will be available in wherever these hotspots are going to be. And so where are those hotspots, and who are we going to be competing with, and how are people going to pay for it? It's all going to be part of a study that will come out, and that's the point of the measure that was introduced by Senator Dennis Rodriguez. We're closing in on 9 o'clock in the morning, and coming up is going to be Fox News Live. Normally, there would be Fox News Live followed by Kevin Kerrigan with news from the Guam Daily Post, but we're not going to be endeavoring into that one here in the upcoming hour. There's other things that are on the table of contents that I haven't gotten anywhere near just yet. An interesting conversation about that land clearing that was going on up in Barragata Heights, and it looks like there's at least one side of the mount that is Chamorro Land Trust land, and they had been clearing away for the road, some kind of easement going on up there, and they stopped awful a sudden. And the reason why they stopped was because apparently they didn't get all of the right check marks and all the right signatures for the permits to move forward with that. I think it's still going to move forward once all of that is sorted out. But does it feel like there's a little bit of, I don't know, does it feel like class war yet? You're starting to get that feeling like, hey, man, this is a Tony neighborhood. We don't want land trust properties around those people living down the street. Is there a little bit of that? Well, I'm not hearing it from the residents yet. We'll see what happens. We'll watch that story. And why was there no meeting last night of the Guam Medical Association at the Guam legislature? We'll pour over that and a few other topics ahead as the Ray Gibson Show continues here on KUSG, Hagutnya. We're the point.
A cold case gets white hot. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Police arrest a man in a decades-old serial killing and rape case.
An ex-police officer has been arrested for being the Golden State Killer and East Side rapist. James Joseph D'Angelo, now 72 years old, was taken into custody in Sacramento, where Scott Jones is the sheriff. He says a few days before they arrested him,
we started some surveillance
we were able to get some discarded DNA, and we were able to confirm what we thought we already knew, that we had our man.
D'Angelo is accused of committing 50 rapes and 12 murders, among other crimes, across several California counties in the 70s and 80s.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. D'Angelo was an officer in the city of Auburn and also in Exeter in Southern California from 1973 to 1976, around the time of the Visalia ransacker cases, police say. That serial criminal tied to burglaries and one killing. The White House continues to defend President Trump's choice for VA secretary as new allegations of impropriety surface, including that he got drunk at a party at the White House and crashed a government vehicle.
The press secretary today saying none of the allegations now raised about Jackson were uncovered in successive background checks.
Dr. Jackson has had at least 4 independent background investigations conducted during his time at the White House. During each of those investigations, Dr. Jackson received unanimous praise from dozens of witnesses, and the investigations revealed no areas of concern.
Sarah Sanders also noting that none of the allegations were raised before Jackson's nomination.
Fox's John Roberts at the White House. The latest Fox News poll released today has President Trump's approval rating at 44%, with 53% disapproving. Last year at this time, his approval rating was at 45%, his disapproval rating at 48%. The same poll finding 55% of respondents that feel political leaders look down on them. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Circle K has just made it easier to select products that are better for you and your healthier lifestyle. When looking for items that are low carb, low sodium, low calories, low sugar, high in antioxidants, or high in protein, just look for the easy to spot better for you labels so you can find these items at a glance. Come by and see for yourself. It has never been more convenient to fill up on anything and everything that are better for you. Circle K. Take it easy.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Buenas and Hafade, Guaho si Clara Menglotnya of Malolo. And this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi itanotmu, protect your land. When it comes to your family land, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
The president of France wrapping up his state visit by speaking before Congress.
President Emmanuel Macron addressed a joint meeting of Congress for about 50 minutes, and he was very firm on the Iran nuclear issue.
As for Iran, our objective is clear. Iran shall never possess any nuclear weapons.
The French president also reminded Congress of America's role in saving the planet, saying he is confident the U.S. will rejoin the Paris Climate Agreement. Macron noted there is no Planet B.
I'm sure one day the United States will come back and join the Paris Agreement.
On Capitol Hill, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
The E. coli outbreak tied to romaine lettuce from Yuma, Arizona continues to spread. The CDC says 84 people are now ill from 19 states. 42 have been hospitalized, including 9 who have developed a type of kidney failure. They advise to not buy romaine lettuce unless you can confirm it's not from Yuma. The actor who provides the voice for several Simpsons characters speaks out.
Hank Azaria voiced his concern over one of the several characters he plays on The Simpsons. On Stephen Colbert's Late Show on CBS, the actor addressed the controversy over his South Asian character Apu, who was the subject of a recent episode after comedian Hari Kondabolu's documentary The Problem with Apu last November addressed its cultural stereotype. Azaria told Colbert he was saddened to hear that the character made some people feel marginalized and offered up ideas for what possible next steps should be, like having South Asian writers in the writers' room.
I'm perfectly willing and happy to step aside or help transition it into something new.
Michelle Polino, Fox News.
Work at ancient baths in the Italian ruins at Pompeii has revealed the skeleton of a crouching child who died in the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
Did you know you can save a little more when you save the water from washing off your produce? Place a strainer or colander over a large pot to catch the water when washing your fruits and veggies. Then recycle that water on your garden or for flushing the toilet.
Catch more Clean and Green Living tips every day and get inspired to make a cleaner, greener effort in your community. Happy Earth Month from the stations of Choice Broadcasting.
Brought to you in part by Pitbull Empire and McDonald's of Guam.
Let's see, where are we eating today? There's Wendy's. Fish fans are celebrating the return of their Wendy's cod filet sandwich. Wendy's uses wild-caught North Pacific cod. Then they bread it up with panko breadcrumbs from Japan, fry it up to a light crisp, and then they put this tartar sauce all over it, and then they crown it with a pickle. Yeah. And if you ask them real nice, they might put 2 pickles in there. So you get 2 splashes
and that's a crisp pickle.
Yeah, crunchy, vinegary, dill pickle flavor in there. And don't forget, it's got the fish, too. Wendy's cod filet, now that's better. As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you.
In this divided world, there are still a few things that unite us. The thrill of an exciting championship game.
Fires to the end zone. Touchdown!
The sound of great music.
The Grammy goes to...
And the love we have for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam presents to you For the Love of Burgers menu. For a limited time, we want you to put down that fork, tuck that napkin in your collar, and go for broke with an amazing burger for just $11.99. 8 burgers to try, and time isn't wasting. Ruby Tuesday Guam lunchtime. See you soon.
This time, let's hear it from the first KFC female colonel.
Smoky Mountain Barbecue, fried chicken so crispy and sweet. That crispy fried chicken. All right, stop, I can't do this. I thought if I dressed up like a country music legend, it would help KFC sell my delicious new Smoky Mountain Barbecue.
KFC, it's finger-licking good.
GTA's best internet deal has arrived. With fiber internet, you get up to 50 megabits of data per second for only $50 per month. And if that's not enough, Fiber Internet 50 plan includes free Wi-Fi. But this offer will only last through the month of April. So sign up today and get ready for faster downloads, more streaming, a better gaming experience, and a stable connection across multiple devices. Conditions may apply. Visit gta.net for more details. GTA, your island, your network.
News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. The Ray Gibson Show.
I know that guy. He owes me $20. Oh, wait, that's me. Hi, welcome to the program. Excuse the mess. Mike Knight pushes the buttons, answers the phone when you call 888-8255. Yeah, every once in a while, I go by a lot of different names. And it freaked me out this morning when Blake came in. He said, Raymond. And I said, there's a handful of people in the world that aren't related to me that call me Raymond. But I'll respond. And when I was talking with Joey Duenas earlier, he said something about, well, I'm having breakfast with Bill Gibson. I said, really? How you do that? Some people call me Bill. And confused my voice with my dad's voice. And I always take it as a compliment. Some people call me John. Because so many years John Anderson did talk radio, and now I'm doing talk radio, and I'll take that as a compliment as well. Yeah. And the high praise is when somebody will refer to me one way or the other as like Mr. Radio, because this is the only real job I've ever had in my life, and I take that as high praise indeed. So I hope he takes it as high praise when I refer to Mark Colby as Mr. Baseball.
I do take that as praise. Yes.
Good. Did we catch you at work? Are you on the job right now?
No, this is my RDO. I do go back to work tomorrow, though.
Okay, good. Listen, I just got word that they had a new start date for the GML, which was supposed to be on the 8th of May, and they pushed that over due to they're using the parking lot for the Guam Micronesian Island Fair to May the 11th. And since you and I talked so much about the problems affecting the field and the facilities over at the Paseo Stadium, I was wondering, have they done enough there to meet with your high standards?
Well, I was informed by the commissioner May 11th. I myself have not had a chance to get down to the stadium to see it for myself, but the commissioner assures me that we are a go for the 11th of May. Traditionally, we always start the GML on a Friday night. So, it is going to happen on the 11th of May. That is the date slated right now. I do understand the governor will be on tap to throw out the first pitch for the opening ceremonies, the opening night. It will be the repeat of the 2015 championship between the defending champions, the Orioles, Auto Spot Orioles, taking on the Jigo Astros. And that game will be at 7 p.m. Paseo Stadium on the 11th of May. Prior to the game, they will hand out the hardwares, which is the championship trophy from our last season, which was 2015, of course. And like I said, the governor and other dignitaries will be on site. And, we're set for the 11th. Now, the reason the pushback, I was actually going to call you last week.
Yeah.
Because, my mom actually heard about this Micronesia Fair.
Right. I guess they're using the parking lot to set up the fair there. And we can't have the parking lot full with fair people, and then where are the people that are going to go to the GML games going to park?
Yeah, the fair, to my understanding, is taking place from the 2nd through the 6th or the 7th or 8th of May. That's why we're pushed back to the 11th. They will be, and I was under the impression that it was, at Paseo. That's all I heard. It was at Paseo. And like I was telling my mom, I said, there's a difference. I know a lot of people, they just pinpoint a location. And I told my mom, I said, I have not heard from the commissioner about this fair taking place inside Paseo Stadium.
Right, it doesn't sound like they are, and that was my initial concern was that they would ruin the field again and more trampling, and there'll be more spots where people are going to converge, and instead of being a flat level playing field, we might have some divots that get cut into it. But it sounds like everything is going to be taking place outside, and it's just a conflict on parking. But getting back to the facilities here, the last time that we had a serious long conversation about this, you indicated that you still had reservations about the safety of the facility with the spalling concrete and rust everywhere and this, that, and the other. So have they straightened all of that out yet?
My word from the commissioner is that it was taken care of, and we are to go into the stadium on the 11th of May. Like I said, the only pushback was due to the fair activities, which are now only taking place on the outer skirts of the Paseo area, and that village that they had built. So we are going for the 11th, and I haven't had a chance to get down to the stadium myself. I did go down there prior to our last playing to start to make sure the system was a go, and like I said, I was all ready to go, and it was just a matter of the safety concerns. And I do know that last time I spoke to Mr. John Kramer, they were working on the structural concerns that were brought up prior.
Okay.
And and like I said, I take the word of the commissioner. I mean, he's the one that signs my check. So I'm going to take his word over it.
If he says you're going to work, then I guess you're going to work. The question from Michael Knight with a deep stadium PA voice is: do you need somebody to do some pronouncing for you in between your calling?
Do some pronouncing?
Yeah, you need somebody. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we'd like to remind you that the Budweiser beer booth is now open, and the restrooms for the ladies are to the right, restrooms for the men are to the left.
And all bacon is half off.
Yes. So he's got that kind of voice. I mean, if you need somebody to do some voiceovers for you, it sounds like he's volunteering.
I take it he wants to take my job.
No. You can still do the play-by-play. I mean, did you want to do the play-by-play?
I can do either.
Really?
Yeah,
okay. No. Well, don't tell the guy you want his job. I just, the mixer's got 2 microphone inputs in it, right?
Well, no, I only have 1 mic up there.
Well,
you want my job?
No. That's not what we're trying to negotiate here. It's always nice to have another guy in the booth, right, for color, number 1, and number 2, if you need to make the statutory remarks about what's going on in the facility, it's nice to have the nice, deep-voiced Michael Knight to handle some of those otherwise colorless, lifeless duties.
Welcome.
Yeah.
More than welcome to come on up to the press box. I always tell everybody that, I do have the best seat in the house.
Yeah.
In reference, it's actually considered the worst seat because it's actually the farthest from the restrooms.
Hey, D. Well, you got to go before you go. So tell you what, we'll see if I can snag another microphone and cable and give it to Mike and let Mike sort out, navigate this new relationship. How's that?
Sounds like an awesome plan. I will be at the stadium, like I said, for opening night, the 11th of May, Friday, 7 p.m. Paseo Stadium.
Right on. And it's going to be a rematch, the Orioles and Astros game. Hey, listen, I was looking at the PDN coverage of it, and they said we've got some new teams in there. The Rooks from Mongmong Totomaiti, Sumai Chiefs, the Jotnya Redhawks, and it just says the Giants. Where do the Giants hail from? Do you know?
They haven't confirmed that to me as to their sponsorship. But, I usually get the schedule and everything else after. I know, like I said, the commissioner is meeting with the teams tonight, actually. Okay. To settle up everything on the start and the schedule. As soon as I get the schedule, I will get it out to you, and I'll also be posting it on the Guam GML Facebook page.
All right, so we'll be on the lookout for that. I'll be on the lookout for that. As soon as you get that, I'd love to be able to publish that as, we do our sports report with Blake and let people know who's going to be playing in the GML games as that season gets started on my birthday, May the 11th.
Oh, so I'll make sure I announce that. Do your birthday shout out.
Right on, buddy. I appreciate it. All right, I'll talk to you. Have a good rest of your day, and then back to work tomorrow in the hospitality industry. Who said, I shouldn't make a big deal about my birthday on May the 11th. I always do anyway, but I would like to say happy birthday today to Gillette Leon Guerrero, who is celebrating, and in San Diego, although her mom and the family still live down in Arahan, Sandy Uslander is celebrating her birthday.
All right.
And just as beautiful today as she was all years and years ago. I forget what she had just. She was the model on Guam back in the olden days, and it's funny because I look at her picture today and see her exactly the same way that she looked when she was 18, 19 years old. 9:17 in the morning. It's the Ray Gibson Show here on The Point. And a bunch of stuff in the table of contents. Stuff that, we've gone over. I don't know if I've completely wrung out my thoughts on this municipal Wi-Fi. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with this down the road as the measure at the legislature gains some traction. Public hearings, things like that. The idea is that we'd set up a bunch of hotspots and make access to the internet for free. But I'm 55, going to be 56 on the 11th, and I know that there's no such thing as free. Somewhere along the line, somebody got to pay for it. Is it going to be the taxpayers that are going to be supporting this? Frankly, and if the idea is that we're going to provide free Wi-Fi so that people can study better or use the internet better or whatever, you know what? The McDonald's has Wi-Fi. You go to McDonald's. And they have Wi-Fi over there. There's a bunch of more places that have got Wi-Fi hotspots. Ask the kids without data plans from their mom and dad. They know exactly where all of the cool places are. You see these teenagers, first thing they do, whip out their phone and hit the little button on the Wi-Fi to see what's available and what might be unlocked. The kids are very savvy about this. They already know. So if it's going to come with an additional cost from the taxpayers, I don't know about that. It might come in the form of additional fees that the phone company would charge so that they can support this free Wi-Fi hotspot thing out in the world. Might come with advertiser support. And that's the one that makes a little bit more sense to me is the idea that you're going to take a service and I will provide that service for you and you will be my product like Facebook does. So you're my product now, and I will be able to go and say I've got XYZ number of students, I've got this many parents, I've got this many people in this age group, I've got this many men, I've got this many women, and sell that information, sell you as a product to advertisers that are going to be trying to reach you. Right? And no different than what we do on the radio here. No difference whatsoever. And so when you open up the system and it says, okay, welcome to the location, here's the Plaza de España Wi-Fi, and when you log in, you're going to have to put up with some advertising on the login screen or the home screen, wherever it goes to first before it allows you to surf. Nothing wrong with that. You see it all the time. If you do enough traveling, you've probably encountered something like that. But those are among the different kinds of plans that we might be able to come up with if they start working that through. I was asking And I found it, not so much information on where there are Wi-Fi hotspots, but somebody made the claim that, you do something like this, and there are all these benefits to the community. And the idea is that there are these plans, right? And maybe it's so expensive, it's so difficult for people to get the righteous data and phone and texting plans. And so I went looking, and I figured, Los Angeles, next biggest city, it would be a good place to look for it. And so I was looking at one of their plans, and they've got an unlimited data plan that comes with 1,000 minutes of actual telephone time and 1,000 messages. And if you are a Sprint customer, you can get that for about $60 a month, right? Unlimited data. And now in the States, and beginning to be a little bit more prevalent here, there's really no such thing as an unlimited plan. They will at some point say, yeah, you can get all the data you want, but we're going to bring it to you at a lower speed.
Right. Yeah.
Because you've already used 23 gigs worth of YouTube, son, and we need to spread the wealth among the other users, so we're going to go ahead and throttle you. You can still get the data, you're just not going to get it at say, streaming speeds.
Right,
The speed's good enough to support that kind of streaming. So in my mind, that's not necessarily unlimited, but that's what they're referring to as unlimited. So unlimited data, 1,000 minutes, 1,000 messages, $60. And don't quote me on this, but it seems to me that for similar plans around here, unlimited data, lots of phone calls, lots of text messaging, things like that, I think you can get that around here for like $50.
Could be.
Yeah, like I said, don't quote me on that, but they're comparable rates is the point that I'm trying to get at, is you go to the next big city market, and that's going to be the next big city, Los Angeles, California, and for about the same as you're paying here, you get the same kind of services. So it leads me to believe, and you can get better prices too, obviously, depending on how you configure things, what you were willing to do with more or less of. In the mainland, sometimes these things drop down to $10 or $15, but can you imagine the quality of service that you're going to get from the reseller of the reseller for those kinds of prices? Customer service is very important for people that are in these plans as well. So, it seems to me that it's not like we need to roll out free internet service and free municipal Wi-Fi for people because our services here are too expensive, because it seems to me that they are in line with what if not better than what the rest of the nation is used to. So it's not like we're being Jones acted out of good, affordable internet services. Back in the old days, you could make the claim, wasn't always like that. It's expensive data and all of that. But I think most of the carriers have discovered that if you're reasonable with your rates, you will find that people will use the service more and be happy about paying that bill. At least that's the view from my perch here. Disclosure is this company's partner company is iConnect, and we run advertisements for virtually all of the carriers that are here on Guam. And I have personal relationships and personal business relationships outside of my role here at the radio station with more than one or two of them. So that's the disclosure. That's me saying I know these guys. So you want to talk about Wi-Fi? Yeah, you can do that. 888-8255 is my number. Huffa Carl, how you doing there? Carl.
Hey, I like your show this morning, and I'm always listening, even if I'm not online. I've got you in the background, so you might not see my name on your your queue list as far as you're online, but I'm listening somewhere.
That's all right. I presume that you are here with me every morning.
Yes, I am listening. Regular listener.
Right.
Yeah, I just wanted to weigh in on the issue of the Wi-Fi. I think it's well-intentioned, as many of these things are, but we've got so many other problems, and especially on the big three.
I'm sorry. I probably should have started there, right? So wait a second. Have we solved all of the other problems that we've got and can start exploring the concept of municipal Wi-Fi?
Yes, Bob Klitsky pointed out in his testimony, a few months ago, he was listing ideas about, revenue, growing revenue, cutting costs. And one of the things he pointed out is that we should prioritize education, public safety, and public health. And we're getting, if not, failing grades, at least very low grades in those areas. I haven't really heard a public outcry about demanding Wi-Fi because they're not able to get, YouTube. But I have heard a lot of outcry from disgruntled residents about our education system, public health, and public safety. And if I might add one more thing, I think a decent investment would be investing in things that enhance the user experience of visitors to Guam, because that will influence their reviews of Guam, and that will influence their wanting to come back and visit again. So those four big things, that's plenty on our plate, and we're already starting to veer off onto these side trails.
Did it feel when you heard it? Did you get that feeling like, wow, that's election year politicking? That's somebody who wants to be the governor saying, if elected, I'm going to roll out free Wi-Fi. We're going to have free internet on Guam when I'm the Ayatollah.
Yeah, I saw it online last night on Facebook, and of course that does occur to you. I like Rodriguez personally. And I don't mean to pick on him. I think all of the candidates are pretty much guilty of it. It's kind of election season knee-jerk response to want to give free stuff. So I'm not picking on him personally. I just think that for all the candidates, I think it'd be wise to start focusing down and getting the big three. If you count, investing in the user experience of our visitors, maybe the big four, invest in those things and get those things right. Get those up to A+, or A or A+ grades.
I settle for a B.
Are.
I settle for a B on many of those things. I tell you what, that's not a problem in my mind. You're absolutely right, and that ought to have been. The problem is sometimes I get deep into the forest and I forget there's trees there, and that's the higher altitude view. Thanks very much for the idea. I'm glad that you've got the time and the wherewithal to be able to provide legislation that would basically force another job on the guys over at GITA to go out there and get these RFIs on something that we don't necessarily need, and we're not even sure that there's a market that wants it real bad. What is it? What problem are we trying to solve with this solution? So every once in a while, folks over at the legislature will do what I like to refer to as offering solutions for which there is no problem.
Yeah, and the tendency with government, and it's not only GovGuam, it's government everywhere. The tendency with bureaucracies is when they don't have a clear idea of their the critical few things they need to do, and I'm talking about those big three.
Sure.
In this case, they tend to want to do everything. And I'm not picking on GovGuam specifically. You see it, in a lot of places. So. It's nothing to do with that. But anyway, Ray, I love your show, and thank you for giving me a few minutes to comment. I do appreciate it.
No, you can call in anytime, Carl. I like hearing from you. It's at 9:28 in the morning. It's the Ray Gibson Show here on The Point. What Mike, you wanted to make a point as well.
Well, you and I look at Internet, as a utility. Like the phone, like the electric, like the water. But there's a change in thought, and it's really starting with the generations younger than us, that it's actually more of a right. And that goes along because everybody's connected. So it's something that's connected the entire world. And so many of the younger generations, those just under us, are thinking, Internet's more of a right. So you're dealing with really a change of mindset that's kind of pushing this kind of thing forward.
Can we just start telling them that they're wrong? Then it's not a right. It is it's an infrastructure that has been built for a couple of specific purposes, and maybe put someplace where you can put a picture and have a filter that makes you look like a bunny rabbit is a very important thing to you at this stage in your life. But it is at the end of the day a want more than it is a need. Down the road, we will find certain needs for it. I was telling you about the eSIM chips that they're going to be baking into phones in the very near future, and the idea behind that is that it is not necessarily for enhanced connectivity. That's a plus, number one, but number two, the other idea is that once we've got these eSIMs, and we've got the codes down, and we're able to manufacture them reliably and bug-free, is you will start seeing more and more things that need internet connectivity. The Internet of Things. We'll start putting eSIMs in refrigerators, toasters, you know, all of these other utilities in our lives, so that we'll be able to communicate with them backwards and forwards. You know, we do the same thing here at the radio station. There's virtually every piece of equipment that I've installed in this radio station that is network capable, so that I can, from wherever I am on the planet, call in and check on the status of those two boxes to your right, or the phone unit over there. Everything is connected, and sometimes they talk to each other and don't need to talk to me. That's kind of the Internet of Things, and that's where the eSIMs are going to be taking us. But that's not something that I think we need to burden the taxpayer with free Wi-Fi everywhere in the world. Bottom of the hour, and I got Senator Bob Klitsky wanted to chime in on this, and that's good because your name came up in an email that I'll share with you in just a second. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning, Ray. I was listening down to the corner of my ear, as is my usual custom, and I heard two magic words, so I thought I'd better call in. The two magic words were Bob Klitsky.
Well, as I said, your name is easy to come up with. The reason why I was thinking about you is I earlier today was talking with Dr. Ron McNinch about the patriation of the Organic Act, and then that followed up with a conversation with former Governor Carl Gutierrez, candidate Carl Gutierrez, who was talking about the idea that we would take the constitutional, the product of the Constitutional Convention in the 1970s, the draft Constitution, which has already been accepted by the Congress, already accepted by then President Jimmy Carter, and then ratify it here locally and begin to use that as our Constitution to help set up our relationship with each other, relationship with the United States. And somebody reminded me that one of your signature pieces that was introduced in the legislature was a bill that would repatriate the Organic Act.
Patriate the Organic Act, yes. And
Patriate.
Of the two ideas, Ray, guess which one I like the best?
The one where we patriate the Organic Act.
Yeah, and here's why. Because the real key to this whole thing is not so much the substance of the document, but the means by which it is amended. Constitutions from time to time must be amended, and the trick is to make it possible but not easy. Because if it were easy, we could be too easily swayed by the politics, emotions, emergencies, etc. of the moment and wind up with something that would not work very well. If we were to patriate the Organic Act, the mechanism would be built in for amendment. It would require that a provision be passed by two successive legislatures and then sent out for a referendum to be approved by the majority of the voters. If we did it that way, then we could have the debate and discussion that two different legislatures would bring to it. And as an example, let's say that we had an amendment to make The Point the official radio station for the island of Guam, something that ought to be automatically approved, but it wouldn't be.
Not without the approval of a couple of legislatures and a significant mandate from the voters.
So the first legislature approves it, and then candidates for the second time around during the second session or the second time of the legislature would campaign for or against that particular measure. So if it passed both legislatures, we'd know that it wasn't just a kind of a fly-by-night idea or a solution looking for a problem like free Wi-Fi all over the island.
I appreciate you adopting my language here. Solution out looking for a problem.
And then the other thing is that to go from where we are now to go to the Constitution that was enacted in 1977, there would be a tremendous transactional cost. We would be stuck with a couple of things that perhaps we wouldn't like and would have to go through the amendment process, whereas if we patriated the Organic Act, we start out with where we are right now, and we have the ability to change it and fine-tune it and make it exactly the way we want it over the years. I don't think that there's a whole lot of grievances with the current Organic Act. except that perhaps in order to change it, it takes an act of Congress.
And so we would have the power to do that here.
Yes, I think that's the really important part of the whole thing.
And just make it difficult, not impossible, but difficult to enact those changes to make sure that that is exactly what we want to do and exactly what we'd like in this document that is our binding foundation of government.
And our protection from our government.
Well, here. See, that's the question that keeps popping into mind when I start talking about these different options, patriation among them, or the ratification of the old Constitution. Is how would these documents? And I suppose I got to read up on that Constitution and Guampedia again, because one of the things that I'd like us to be able to have is a better, more equal voice with the federal government, so that when they come along with these ideas about, hey, we're going to do this treaty and allow for people that live in these countries to come and move and live on Guam, become part of your economy for better or worse, become part of your healthcare system for better or for worse, become part of your criminal justice system for better or for worse, that we have got an opportunity to say that's not in our best interest, or we'll do it, but we need these assurances that we don't have to lift and carry the burden on our own.
Well, that goes a little bit beyond the boundaries of the Constitution, but there is something there, and I'll give you an example that lawyers probably would groove on. It's a little bit abstract, but we had a case about 20 years ago involving Rasta Ben. I don't know if you remember that, and Rasta Ben was busted for importation of marijuana.
I remember the name, and I remember seeing the guy out all the time.
Yeah, well, you could easily recognize him because he had a red, yellow, green, and orange cap.
Yeah, and dreadlocks.
Exactly, and if you hadn't known Rasta Ben, you'd have thought he took that direct flight from Kingston, Jamaica, to Manilo. Mm-hmm. And Rasta Ben was busted, and prosecuted locally. Or excuse me, he was prosecuted, the feds prosecuted him. He was convicted. There was a Guam Supreme Court case there was a Guam Supreme Court case that let him off. And, well, this is complicated, but anyhow, when it got to the Ninth Circuit, the Ninth Circuit said the rights that Rasta Ben was relying on, that is the free exercise clause of our First Amendment as adopted by the Mink Amendment, the Organic Act, the Ninth Circuit said, what we're talking about here is a federal statute. We'll apply our construction to it, not the Guam Supreme Court statute, not the Guam Supreme Court's interpretation, because the Guam Supreme Court is not interpreting a local constitution, it's interpreting a federal statute. So if we had our own constitution, at least the courts might pay some deference to it. With respect to some of the bigger items, that would be a matter that would best be addressed to the United States Congress, and I have a feeling that some of the things we think we really should have, we might be able to get if we'd ask. And one of the points that I'd make, Ray, if I could make one more point.
That's all right.
And that is that with respect to perhaps one of our biggest problems is habitual residents coming here from the freely associated states. And I would hope that our representative to Congress, whoever that will be come next year, would find out when the next negotiations are going to take place and sit outside that building with a can of gasoline, threatening to self-immolate if he or she were not permitted in the room to at least watch and listen. But these negotiations come and go, and we just sit back and twiddle our thumbs and say, well, gosh, I guess we're going to be the victims again. We shouldn't take an aggressive posture with respect to either the governments of the Federated States or our own national government.
Well, I keep waiting for somebody, as you say, to jump in. I don't know that I'd go the route of self-immolation. I've always found that to be kind of self-defeating drama. I mean, at the end of the day, you're dead, and you won't even know whether it was a success or not. But I do get the point, and I think there are a number of negotiations that we are just a few years away from, and we need to start doing that lobbying now to make sure that that we can either go in as an observer or that somebody is in there that can speak for us.
Yeah, well, I think that what I'm looking for is someone who aggressively represents the territory of Guam, not someone who is trying to play the sympathy card and gather sympathy for us. I would hope that we present ourselves as a robust, viable part of the American system that is interested in greater participation in the system, and demanding that we be treated as full partners in the system, as opposed to, well, you did this to us.
And now the CMS at the hospital, and look, we got all these costs over at the Department of Corrections. We need another 100 guys, and we don't only got the money for 4 guys, and all of that stuff. I totally understand. Totally understand. I don't know who's the guys that's supposed to do that. My guess is that there was a happy, hearty handshake and a photo opportunity when Domenech came in, walked into the room with, hey, before we start talking about anything else, here's $6 million. Ooh. Yeah, and my response would have been, you keep your money. That's a drop in the bucket in comparison with what we need interior to be going to bat for Guam and Saipan and Hawaii for.
Yeah, and another example is our governor saying, the reason that we're in this financial crunch that we're in right now is not our fault. It's solely the fault of the federal government 8,000 miles away and the way they reduced our taxes. When you talk like that, nobody's going to pay any attention to you.
It's 9:40. I got to run. I think I'm going to leave it there. That was the punchline. I could not, anything that I try to add to that, I will detract from. And smart money knows when to shut up.
Good talking to you, Ray.
Same here. I'll talk to you. Senator Bob Klitsky on the Ray Gibson Show on the Point. I'll be right back. Don't move. Oh, yeah, I got to tell you about that. iConnect time in the studio is 9:41, right? Connect longer for less with the great push-to-talk and mobile plans at iConnect.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
For over 55 years, Community First has served our island as a full-service financial institution. And now, we're proud to introduce the new Community First Student-Run Credit Union, open in Manilao on Route 10. Guam's first student-run financial institution, which means it's operated by college students like us, ready to serve all our members, existing and new. We're just down the road from UOG and GCC. Community First Guam Federal Credit Union, now open in Manilao. This credit union is federally insured by NCUA.
Stop by any Circle K today and overload your For Real. It's simple. Pick out your favorite For Real shake, blend it, and then mix and match any 2 toppings for only $1. Overload your For Real with a variety of sweet treats like Oreo cookies, gummy bears, classic M&Ms or peanut M&Ms, and Reese's peanut butter cups. Simply add them to your For Real shake for an overload experience and enjoy. For Real Overload, only available at participating Circle Ks. Circle K, take it easy.
The Guam Family Justice Center Alliance invites you to the Children's Carnival Ball on Sunday, April 29 at the Dusitani Resort from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Bring the whole family for a fun-filled time with entertainment, games, and activities. Proceeds to benefit raising awareness and funding for the development of an official family justice center on Guam. Tickets available at limited 76 Circle K stores. Come down to the Dusitani for the Children's Carnival Ball on April 29 for a magical time and a wonderful cause. Special thanks to Oradot Dental Clinic, SPPC Corp., and the stations of Choice Broadcasting.
I got tossed this in there because people were asking. They said, you had Carl Gutierrez on the radio again this morning? I said, not again. I mean, I'm trying to think how many times we've had him on, but he was on. Yes, he was on this morning, and people are asking me, so when was he on? I want to hear what he's got to say. He was on, what was that, about 6:45 this morning, 6:50, something like that. So here's what you do. Follow Ray Gibson Show on YouTube. We've set up a channel there, and every day at the end of this program, two things happen. The video feed that's on Facebook Live becomes a video on demand so that you'll be able to watch it again and again, right? Because there's going to be some nights you can't sleep. What am I going to do? You could go to YouTube and put on the white noise things, meditation music, or you can put me on.
Well, this show is like a good movie, too. So if you watch it the first time, you're going to want to watch it a second time because you're going to catch something different the second time.
You missed it. Yeah, I might say neckgasm again, and caller might say butthurt. Those are like my two favorite words that have been on the radio this week. Anyway, so that's what happens on the Facebook side. We also take about 5 gigabytes of puro. Let me just tell you, it is clean audio, clean video, and we stick that up on YouTube, and it is as good as that feed can possibly get. So if you want just a like studio quality of the program, then that's how you get that. And like I said, we'll start uploading that right after the program, and depending on internet speed, bandwidth usage, you know, whether there's a fish nibbling on the fiber between here and the West Coast, it usually takes about 25-30 minutes for the whole thing to upload. But once it is, then that's there, and we've got virtually every program that we've done since we signed on February the 1st is on the YouTube site. That's right. So if you're thinking that you heard something, that's how you do it. It's not, unfortunately, indexed. I don't have the time for it. Mike doesn't have the time for it. So if you just know about when Carl Gutierrez was on, then you should be able to slide the gizmo over and be able to cut right to it. So about 6:45, 6:50. Why is that important? 2 reasons. Number one, because we were talking about taking what will be remembered as the product of the Carl Con Constitutional Convention way back in the 70s. And using that as our Constitution. It's already been accepted in the States. It's just a question of getting it ratified again out here. He said back in those days, it was tricky to do because there were so many, what's the word I'm looking for? So many guys, indigenous rights groups, et cetera, the activists that were up in arms against it. But it might be different. It might be different. The timestamp and the logo aren't on the video feed?
No, I'm looking right here. And
it's not on now.
Not there.
It's not on now. Okay, I can fix that. Yeah. Let me just press a button here, and then we can put all of that stuff back on. There we go. Right? So around that time period, et cetera. See, now you made me lose track of what I was trying to say.
Sorry.
Anyway, so yeah. So without all of the activists participating this time, maybe their influence has been diluted over the years with time and age and whatever. Might be different. We'll see what happens. And then the other reason was because he called out a lady named Candace on Facebook because they were supposed to be this morning at a gubernatorial forum, not a debate. And let me just say, Carl is good in either situation, but in debates, the man's on fire. Yeah. I like to see him in debates, and I can see how they might not have wanted to put him in a debate situation against the other 4 folks that are running for gubernatorial, because that could reset some people's thinking on topics and candidates. So they're doing a forum, and Carl thought that they were going to get suckered into something, and called shenanigans on it, and said, "Well, we're not going to be a part of this." What he referred to as a setup for the Lou and Josh camp. Right. And so they're out of it this morning. But it was funny. And forget the issues. It was classic Ray and Carl. So I want you to be looking for the video a little bit later on. 10 minutes away from the top of the hour. Let me take another quick break, and then we'll wrap up the program. Oh, did I catch you by surprise? Oh, sorry about that. You want me to keep talking until you're ready? I can do it. Either or. Yeah, no problem. One of the things that I have not talked about today is, and I threatened to do it a while ago, and I don't know, just stuff happens in the morning show, and I get distracted by the shiny, and so I did not talk about something that felt like it was really, really earth-shattering important on Tuesday when we started getting communications from Dr. Vince Akimoto. And Vince is another one of those guys. Yeah, you get him on the radio, and it's like touching a match to gasoline.
Yeah.
And he was up in the CMS guys are here doing a survey on Guam Memorial Hospital. And the guys over at GMH, we talked to Peter John about this. He doesn't seem to be all that excited, all that worked up about it. But there is a concern that if they this 7-member team does not come up with the correct findings, that Guam could lose access to a whole lot of reimbursed CMS money from Medicare and Medicaid. GMH already in a tough spot when it comes to that kind of thing, and imagine how much worse it would be if they were to get even less in the reimbursement cost. That's what the Bob Klitsky was talking about in reference to Eddie Calvo's response to the CMS guys being here. It's their fault. It's not ours. We didn't do anything wrong. It's their reimbursement rates, yada, 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 yada. The folks over at the Daily Post have an editorial position on that disagrees completely with Governor Calvo's position. Not the first time, but it's an interesting read if you haven't gotten through there yet. And so last night, there was supposed to be a meeting of the Guam Medical Association at the legislature. And originally I was thinking, okay, this would be cool to be able to watch it on TV. As it turns out, they weren't going to put it on the television, on their YouTube channel either. And then under further investigation, we found that it wasn't going to happen at all. And this is what was provided by Dr. Akimoto to Kevin Kerrigan. Please be advised of the following. The Guam Medical Association leadership, in consultation with community advisors, has decided to reschedule our general membership meeting that was announced to be held tonight at the Guam Congress Building out of respect for the ongoing process involving the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services inspection of the Guam Memorial Hospital. The GMA leadership has decided to postpone our general membership meeting until a later date. The ongoing public discussion of GMH needs to be done respectfully and rationally, period. We support the GMH leadership in their efforts to improve our island's only public hospital. We stand ready to assist our hospital in any way. Please await notice on future meetings. So when is the next future meeting? And now, number one, who are these community advisors? And was the public discussion at the time not respectful or rational? You know, you heard some of it on the radio. You heard the conversation that Vince and I had. And I'm sure you've heard other talk, other places. And I started, I mean, after that phone call, we started getting pings and some chatter on our wires about how there might have been a bunch of people that weren't really happy with the way that issue was framed. So, didn't happen, probably not going to happen, out of respect again, for the ongoing inspection of the Guam Memorial Hospital. 9:52, we'll go ahead and take that break right now and come back and finish up the show. You stay there. Keep listening to The Point.
In this divided world, there are still a few things that unite us. The thrill of an exciting championship game.
Fire to the end zone. Touchdown!
The sound of great music.
The Grammy goes to...
And the love we have for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam presents to you For the Love of Burgers menu. For a limited time, we want you to put down that fork, tuck that napkin in your collar, and go for broke with an amazing burger for just $11.99. 8 burgers to try, and time is a-wasting. Ruby Tuesday Guam lunchtime. See you soon.
Yes, money is something we should talk about and plan for and use to make life better. It's how we make our giant leap from where we are to where we want to be. So let's talk together and work together to check off shiny new kitchens, fully nested dorm rooms, and bucket lists with more countries than our passports can hold. Let's check them all off together. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC.
Summer's right around the corner, but first shift into spring with Triple J. With 0 down, 1.9% financing, and easy trade-in, now is the time to buy. Get into our big boy truck, the Ford F-150, starting at $217 per paycheck. Car and drivers, 10 best. Mazda CX-9 at $242 per paycheck. The Mazda 3 sedan at only $137 per paycheck. Or the North American Car of the Year, the 2018 Honda Accord at only $216 per paycheck. Visit us online at triplejguam.com and get pre-approved instantly. Some conditions apply. See dealer for details. Triple J Auto Group. Customers first.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
Why pay for paper? Go paperless for $3 less. Move into e-billing and reduce your carbon footprint while enjoying an easier, faster, and more secure way to receive and view your bills. No more paper clutter or waiting for the mail. Go green and sign up today by checking out DocomoPacific.com or calling 688-CARE. Why pay for paper? Go paperless for $3 less. Docomo Pacific, better together.
Almost time to go. And it's getting to a point where this ends up being one of the last guys I get to talk to in the course of a morning show here on The Point. And I got John Fernandez back on the line this morning, and wondering if your marathon sessions over at the legislature look like they're going to be concluding anytime soon. Good morning, sir.
Yes, hi, Ray, and I'm sorry for getting back to you so late.
That's
but
right.
I'm headed there right now. We'll be starting up hopefully in about a few minutes. When I get there, they'll be ready to bring me back on to the committee of the whole to continue the discussion. And I'm hoping we get through by noon. I have a ton of work and important things I got to get to. And, I think it really comes down to this. Either you have confidence in DOE being able to take this important role on, or you don't. And I think either way, by noon, my board chairs expressed frustration that I'm not able to attend to the matters that we need to attend to. And I think at the end, by the time we get to noon, I think the issue is, let's let the legislature figure it out and decide what they want to decide. If I get the added responsibility and pressure and other things to build Simon Sanchez, I'll take it on willingly, because that's what my kids, that's what my educators are telling me. They want DOE to take it on. But if not, we'll support DPW, and we just need to move on and get down to a decision.
Well, I couldn't help but feel that you were trying to put some social media pressure on the legislature. I don't know whether that was intentional or not, but I read earlier a tweet that you had sent out saying, retweet if you think it would be a good idea to allow me to take the lead in building a new Simon Sanchez High School. It's more work, more pressure, and more responsibility, but you students asked me to lead, and if that's what you want, I'll give it my all. The point that I made on this, and I'll be happy to make it again because I really believe in this, is that John Fernandez is more popular in and of himself and more respected by the student community than anybody over at the legislature. And I think what you need to do here is ask them to hold off on any further discussion until you can bring in the students from Simon Sanchez. Let's have this done in the afternoon when they're out of school.
I'll leave that up to the legislature. I don't necessarily put it out there and think that the senators listen to social media as their guiding point on this. But I did want to let our students know that I'm fighting to take responsibility because they asked me to. And if not, I think it would be despite my best efforts to try to go ahead and accept that responsibility. And again, the legislature is in control here. If they feel that it's not right to give it to me, then we can go back to the current situation where it's tied up in court. And you can cross our fingers and hope Simon Sanchez somehow, gets moved forward under the current status quo.
Yeah, I learned a long time ago not to live on hope and live with your fingers crossed. I mean, I think there's time for some definitive action. I will express that when it comes to procurement, I am not sure about the capabilities that the Department of Education has, but the system elsewhere is broken, and if we can't unbreak that, then somebody else needs to take a swing at the pitch. And I think, given the unique nature of the relationship that you have now with the Ed board and a personal relationship with Mark Mendiola, I think the combination there, the teamwork that you guys have, might be able to help spot some of the deficiencies that you might have in procurement and resolve them. So hopefully the satisfaction of the students and the faculty.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to do this alone. I mean, obviously we want the help of our partner agencies, even our autonomous agencies like GPA, where they've got experience handling, working with the owner's agent engineer, like we hope to do in this case.
Yep.
We want to benefit from their knowledge as well. But I think the issue is accountability. I can't go before the legislature and get blamed for not taking the lead, but yet they're unwilling to give me the responsibility to move it forward. So they got to decide one way or the other, and I'm okay either way. It'll be a relief not to have the extra pressure on me to build a new school if they choose to do that. But again, I'm doing it because Simon Sanchez community said, we want you to do it. That's the only reason I stepped forward.
John Fernandez with me on the point. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the effort that you're putting into it. We'll see what happens around noon today.
All right. Thank you, Ray.
Not a problem. Not a problem. We're KUSG Hagåtña. The radio station is called The Point. My name is Ray Gibson. Michael Knight, Kevin Kerrigan join me every single morning. And I want to thank you for joining me this morning. I'm going to check back with you tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. bright and or early. Stand by now for Fox News Live.
He won't testify. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump's personal attorney, Michael Cohen, says he will